나의 레벨은 다르다 어나더 레벨 핫식스와 함께하는 ASL 시즌14 대망의 4강 경기로 인사드립니다. 안녕하세요, 이영경입니다. 역대급이라는 말로도 부족했던 이 치열했던 경기들을 거쳐 이번 시즌 이제 단 4명의 선수만이 결승을 향한 도전을 계속해서 이어나가게 됐습니다. 오늘은 그 첫 번째 대결 김지성 선수와 김민철 선수의 4강 대결이 여러분을 기다리고 있는데요. 이 두 명의 선수 이번 시즌 어떤 발자취를 따라왔는지 저와 함께 살펴보시죠. 자, 먼저 김지성 선수입니다. 24강 첫 경기에서 조기석 선수에게 패배하긴 했지만 한두열 선수와 조기석 선수를 연달아 꺾어내면서 2위로 16강에 진출했고요. 이 16강에서는 쟁쟁한 두 저그 선수 김성대 선수와 조일장 선수를 꺾으면서 D조 1위로 8강 진출을 확정지었습니다. 이어진 8강에서는 태풍 저그 이영환 선수를 완벽하게 막아서면서 커리어 사상 처음으로 4강 진출에 성공했습니다. 이에 맞서는 김민철 선수입니다. 와일드카드전에서 유영진 선수에게 0대2로 패하며 시작했지만 24강에서 오진식 최우선 선수를 잡아내면서 1위로 16강에 올랐습니다. 이 16강에서는 자신을 번번이 괴롭혔던 3저그조에 속했는데요. 이 동족전을 극복하고 3시즌 연속으로 8강 진출에 성공했습니다. 이어진 8강에서는 저그전 스페셜리스트인 프로토스 김태경 선수를 상대로 풀세트 접전 끝에 승리를 거두면서 시즌3 이후 무려 5년 만에 4강 진출을 이뤄내는 데 성공했습니다. 자, 그렇다면 양 선수가 결승에 진출하게 된다면 각자 어떤 기록을 만들어내게 되는지도 만나보겠습니다. 자, 먼저 김지성 선수인데요. 이 본인의 커리어 사상 처음으로 결승 진출에 성공하게 되고 ASL에서 역대 7번째 테란 결승 진출자로 이름을 올리게 됩니다. 또한 테란 종족은 시즌12 유영진, 시즌13 이재호 선수에 이어서 이번 시즌 김지성 선수까지 3시즌 연속 결승 진출자를 배출하는 종족이 되네요. 자, 이어서 김민철 선수가 결승에 진출하게 된다면 ASL에서 첫 결승 진출에 성공하게 되고 역대 7번째 저그 결승 진출자로 이름을 올리게 됩니다. 이 저그는 시즌11 이몽규 선수 이후 3시즌 만에 김민철 선수라는 결승 진출자를 배출하게 되네요. 자, 계속해서 이번 시즌 함께한 16강 진출자 선수들은 어떻게 예상하고 있을지도 살펴보겠습니다. 12명의 선수들에게 설문을 진행한 결과 장윤철, 윤찬희, 황병영, 도재욱, 최호선 그리고 박상현 선수는 김지성 선수의 승리를, 이영환, 김태경, 이재호, 김명훈, 변현재 그리고 김성대 6명의 선수가 김민철 선수의 결승 진출을 예상했습니다. 6대6으로 선수들의 예측 역시 팽팽하게 갈리고 있습니다. 자, 마지막으로 오늘 경기에 대한 팬 여러분들의 예측까지 살펴보겠습니다. 오늘 저녁 7시까지 아프리카TV e스포츠 승부 예측 탭을 통해서 설문을 진행한 결과 51%의 시청자 여러분이 김민철 선수의 결승 진출을 예상하고 계셨습니다. 선수들에 이어서 시청자분들까지 오늘 과연 어떤 선수가 승리를 거두고 결승 무대에 오를지 한 치 앞도 예상하기 힘든 승부를 예측해 주셨습니다. 자, 나의 레벨은 다르다 어나더 레벨 핫식스와 함께하는 ASL 시즌14 각자 본인 앞에 놓인 한계를 하나씩 극복해내면서 4강 무대를 앞두고 있는 김지성 선수와 김민철 선수입니다. 과연 어떤 선수가 결승 무대를 밟게 될지 오늘의 4강 경기 지금부터 함께하시죠.
ASL 시즌14 이제 4강 대결 생애 최초로 결승에 올라가 선수 누가 될지 오늘 첫 번째 주인공을 불러보겠습니다. 강력한 우승 후보 저그전 10연승의 주인공 불러보죠. 김지성! 최고의 기량을 선보이며 4강 무대에 올라오게 되었습니다. 굉장히 빠르게 등장을 하면서 이 결승 무대까지 올라가기 위한 준비가 끝난 듯 보입니다. 자, 강력한 우승 후보 김지성 선수 이후에 또 다른 주인공이 기다리고 있습니다. 이번 시즌 자신의 약점을 극복하고 4강전에 올라왔습니다. 그냥 철벽이 아닌 가지 박힌 철벽 김민철! 역대 최고의 포스로 결승 무대를 가기 위한 4강 현장에 올라온 김민철 선수입니다. 오늘 이 무대에서 과연 어떤 일을 내게 될 것인지 선수들과 이야기를 나눠보는 시간을 갖도록 하겠습니다. 자, 먼저 김지성 선수.
네.
저그전 김민철 올라오는 순간, 이영은 잡고 올라간 순간 어떤 생각하셨어요?
아, 이거는 저한테 결승을 가라는 건가 싶은
골!
그런 생각이 좀 들더라고요.
김민골! 철벽인데, 가시가 박힌 철벽인데.
근데 그것도 솔직히 좀 옛날 말인 것 같아요.
와!
아,
와! 철벽이 아닌 절벽?
좀 많이 허물었다고 그래요.
와! 무너진 벽?
네.
와! 아니, 김민철이, 저그 김민철이 지금 여기 무섭게 지금 올라온 김지성 선수에게 허물어진 벽, 헐벽, 철벽이 아닌, 아니면 이 상황에 대해서 어떻게 생각하세요?
좀 우스워요. 예, 뭐 진짜 상대가 막 우승자고 그러면은 뭐 저도 인정하겠는데 날빌로만 이렇게 올라와 놓고 자기가 뭐 좀 되는 거가 마냥 이렇게 얘기하는 게 좀 저는 우습습니다.
프로 라이빌로 10연승. 와, 나이지성. 아니, 지금 여기서 지금 우습다고 이야기했거든요.
네네.
솔직히 어때요, 기분이?
아, 근데 민철이 형도 제 쇼 못 막던데요.
야! 아니, 알고도 못 막아요.
뭐 저번에 이제 중계진 끝장전에서 한 번 했었는데 그때 뭐 제가 하는 거 다 통하던데요.
야! 구멍난벽. 아니, 지금 김지성의 나이비를 왜 못 막아요?
너무 과거에 사로잡혀 있어요.
와!
언제적 얘기인데
그래요?
지금은 또 다르니까.
네. 지금의 김민철 선수가 지금 평가하는 김지성 선수 어떤 선수입니까?
뭐 솔직히 말씀드리면 10연승이란 얘기를 들었을 때까지 듣기 전에는 좀 쉽다라는 선수라고 생각을 했어요.
그렇죠.
근데 10연승이란 얘기를 듣고 나서 근데 어차피 그 연승엔 내가 없었잖아요.
와!
그리고 이제 연승이 끊길 때가 됐어요.
10연승이면?
네. 이제 오늘 깔끔하게 끊어드리도록 하겠습니다.
네. 그렇다면 김민철 선수 계산상 오늘 사실 테란전을 굉장히 잘하고 지금 테란전이 지금 철벽을 만든 거잖아요. 그러면 이제 무난하게 오늘도 승리를 따내면서 올라갈 가능성, 생애 첫 결승으로 올라갈 수 있는 길 열렸습니까?
오늘이 제 인생에서 제일 좋은 기회가 아닌가
와!
생각이 들고 오늘
네.
결승 올라가도록 하겠습니다.
알겠습니다. 지금 김민철 선수는요 결승 갔어요. 예.
근데 예전부터 민철이 형이 저를 좀 무시하는 경향이
와!
있었거든요.
느껴졌어요?
근데 옛날에는 솔직히 인정했어요. 왜냐면 저도 이제 민철이 형이 제일 잘하는 적이라고 생각을 했었죠.
네.
평소에. 그만큼 평소에 못 이기기도 했고. 근데 저도 지금은 달라져가지고
오!
오늘은 저도 질
아니.
생각이 없어요.
그러면 저그계에서 최고의 선수 김민철이에요?
옛날에
지금은?
오늘 저를 이긴 다음에 인정해 주세요.
와! 야야야야, 정말 그 정도로 자신을 이긴다면, 옛날엔 최고였는데 지금 최고 아니다, 지금 이긴다면 최고를 인정하겠다. 그렇다면 김민철 선수가 생각하는 김지성은 최고의 테란입니까?
근데 진짜로 예전에는 그랬었는데 지금은 이제 많이 잘해졌더라고요. 인정할 건 인정하거든요.
네.
근데 이제 오늘 저를 확실하게 이기면 저도 인정하겠습니다.
알겠습니다. 자, 인정록입니다. 이번에 이기면 서로가 서로 인정한다 그랬어요. 그럼 끝으로 김민철 선수가 김지성 선수에게 한 말씀. 오늘 어떤 경기 하자?
일단은 오늘 너무 허무하게만 안 무너졌으면 좋겠어.
야! 오늘 0대4! 네. 자, 그렇다면 김지성 선수는요?
아까 저우전 10연승에 자기가 없었다고 그랬는데 오늘 거기에 명단 올려드릴게요.
야! 그 명단에 김민철까지 올려준다는 이야기를 했습니다. 이제 결승에 올라가는 선수가 결정이 됩니다. 두 선수 중에 한 명은 생애 첫 ASL 결승에 올라가게 되는데 과연 어느 선수가 올라가게 될지 여러분의 뜨거운 박수로 4강전 대결을 시작하겠습니다.
이제 대회에서도 통할 만한 이런 실력을 가지고 있었지만 계속해서 뭔가 오프라인 무대에서 좀 꼬이고 잘 안 되고
저그전 10연승을 좀 달리면서
시 앞서 벌쳐주고 벌쳐 많아줘요.
극강의 포스를 뽐내고 있는 김지성 선수고 생애 첫 4강 진출 이뤄냈습니다.
저그전에서 발목이 잡히면서 높이 올라가지를 못했거든요.
가전제에서 김민철이 많이 깨졌어요.
그죠? 구성에다가 몰았습니다.
자신의 약점을 좀 더 극복하면서 4강에 올라간 김민철 선수.
김지성이 ASL 내에서 테란으로서 저그전 기록이 가장 좋은 테란이거든요.
네.
현역 시절에 엄청난 수비력을 바탕으로 김민철벽이라는 별명이 붙었었는데
전성기의 그 실력을 보여주고 있는 그 입장에서 이번 시즌이 우승이다 뭐 이런 생각 할 수밖에 없거든요.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the round of 4 of the ASL Season 14. Going to be an insane match. You could already see with the predictions, people are very split. It's definitely not clear that there is a favorite here.
Yeah, it's always funny to see what the pros think, and I especially like whatever pro is playing a race that isn't in the matchup. Like Bisu is like Soulkey's going to 4-0.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What are you based? Because he beat you? It's a completely different matchup. But no, I think this is going to be a pretty close one, to be honest. I think that Soulkey's, both these guys are like some of the best players for their races, and specifically in this matchup. And I would normally favor Soulkey a little bit, but I think the style of Royal is really going to come into play here, Tasteless. He is very, well, I don't want to say cheesy, but he has a lot of prep in his builds, and it's very tricky to play against him, I think.
For sure. It looks like they're going to be using the Sangam Coliseum for the finals. This is an excellent venue. If you're watching this recording and you're in Korea during this time, I would definitely recommend you go get a ticket and go check it out. But definitely make sure you get a ticket in time. They sell out extremely fast for StarCraft 1.
Yeah, it's that is going to be a hell of a lot of fun, I think, for those finals. And I mean, it's always a great atmosphere and everything. You guys would absolutely love it if you ever get to go to one. Now, here is taking a look at our bracket. Of course, here today we're going to be doing Royal against Soulkey, and of course, another Terran versus Zerg on the other side of the bracket. I couldn't be happier, Tasteless.
I know, no Protosses for me this season, man. This is the revenge season of that KSL where we had 4 Protosses in the final 4. Yeah, this is going to be, I think, a very exciting Final Four, and I think it's really hard to call who is going to be the actual victor of this ASL. You and I were both talking about Hero, but I would just give him like a few percentage points more likely to make it. I mean, all these guys are so skilled. You can see here with our map lineup, we're going to start out making it weird. Neo Arcanoid to begin this series of a best of 7.
In fact, it's really the first 2 maps are kind of weirder ones, right? Like Nemesis is map number 2 as well, so that's kind of crazy. You know, it is a best of 7, so like you really have time here to show exactly what your skills are and to figure out like who is the best player going forward. I don't feel like this can really be a blowout in either direction.
Yeah, I think this should be quite a back and forth. If this was, a 4-0 on either side, or even a 4-1, I would be pretty surprised. I think these guys are very evenly matched. I do want to point out, these guys are real planners. Not hinging a lot of stuff off just a few tactics. They do have very good straight-up play, but both these guys open up in very interesting ways and oftentimes try to leverage certain build orders, do obtuse strategies as well. So this is going to be a real deep dive into TVZ.
Yeah. Take a look here, Tasteless, at the win rates of Royal. 87.5% against Zerg, 33% against Terran, and 28% against Protoss. This is maybe the most lopsided statistics I've ever seen.
I can't even believe that. That's insane to me. Wow. All right. Well, this is clearly his matchup. I do think that the low victory rates in the other matchups are not truly representative of where his skill is at, but that is quite the story. And to be frank, man, I mean, with the possibility of Hero advancing, maybe if Royal wins here, maybe he could take the whole thing. Maybe he's the Zerg killer.
It is possible, and what a run that would be, right? We've seen Mini do similar things where he just kills every Zerg throughout a tournament and just rockets to the top of it, and that seems to be the way it's been going here for Royal so far. He's had a lot of Zerg opponents, as you can see, his last 10 games, all wins, and these are the very best of best Zergs. So definitely fearsome in the matchup, but you see a more balanced Soulkey over here. I think that he is just fantastic against Terran. You can see his win rate very close in that to his win rate versus Protoss, and of course his versus Zerg win rate, something that we've talked about a lot, probably what has kept him away from a title in ASL so far.
Yeah. Again, this is a guy, I find him harder to cast than the other Zergs. I don't know if you've had that experience as well, Artosis. Like, it's very hard to predict what he's going to do, and a lot of times the strategies he's going to employ don't become clear until after they've started.
Yeah. He definitely does have some cool prep that he mixes in. Sometimes he makes choices that I find questionable, but he's literally one of the best RTS players of all time. I do love to bring up that he's one of these guys where he won a KSL and he won a GSL. So that's a StarCraft 1 and a StarCraft 2 championship in the modern era, which is only him and Rain have really done that.
Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of crazy to have won a Star League in both games. And as you said, only Rain has pulled that off. And that's
Flash
crazy.
does have an IEM win, which is like pretty good, but not the same level as GSL.
Not the same level as a Star League, not the same amount of time to plan this out. And so that says a lot. Even Flash, even Jaedong, these other superstars have not quite done it. And by the way, all the guys that are playing GSL, they were also StarCraft 1 pros who did not win Star Leagues, okay? Just to make that clear. So I think a lot of people who picked up the game late thought, well, these guys play this one, but they don't play that one. They've all played both of them, guys, okay?
And they're all really good, man. Whenever they switch over, they're like a bunch of StarCraft 2 guys are starting to go to StarCraft 1 now, and they're actually getting up to the top of the ladder. People like Deer and SOS.
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, that just really does say something about Soulkey, is that, only him and Rain have kind of pulled this off. And I'll tell you, man, if he wins this ASL, that'll be crazy too. Then he will be a champion in both of the Star Leagues. Obviously, KSL was very short-lived. That was back when Blizzard had, I guess you could say, people that were more supportive financially of StarCraft that were there. Obviously Blizzard's quite a different company now, but that was, another league that was funded by them. Short-lived for sure, but yeah, man. I mean, if he can, after having won a KSL, then come over here and win an ASL, that would be incredible.
Well, I think it is just a matter of time before Soulkey gets it. Will he get it this season? It's looking reasonably promising. Like, I think that he definitely can do it. Like, a Hero might be a tough one in the finals there, but if he can beat Royal, I would say for sure he can beat Rush.
Yeah. And again, Royal, I think he's got a very modern, very interesting take on this matchup, and I look forward to seeing what exactly he's going to be trying to do coming into this. He does have a very wide range of play. By the way, you could see quite a big audience here tonight for people coming down. Again, I know I say this a lot, and people probably get tired of hearing me say it, but it's so nice to have people back in the studio after 2 years of having events where, it was this big, empty, almost like a high school gymnasium we were casting out of.
Yeah,
it's cool to see people coming back together. I want to remind everybody that Asia even parts of Asia like China are still in lockdown mode, but Asia was very slow to open back up. So, this is a site that does make me happy every time I see it.
Yeah, and it really is filling up, like the studio, just about each and every time. The GSL is filling up, the ASL is filling up, and it's awesome to see all the fans get in and really get to enjoy it once again.
Okay, we're going to be getting this started on Neo Arkanoid. This game for Game 1 will not be representative of what the rest of the games are going to look like. This is a very different, weird map. And especially with these two guys going up against each other, I'm really interested in seeing what they have planned out, because these are preppers. These are guys that really like to map out their builds. They like to do stuff very outside the box, very brainy. These are the kind of players that are very strong. They're strongest against other strong players because they know how to take advantage of the mind of a very good player.
It's a very good way to put it. That is for certain. Like, a lot of people are actually asking me about Royal's builds, especially that factory build that he used against Shine. They're like, oh, can I use that on the ladder? I'm like, do not. Do not. He literally would have lost to a B-rank player that has the sunken too fast. So he really needs someone smart like Soulkey to make his strats work.
All right, guys, we're going to go into Game 1 in this best of 7. The winner goes on to the ASL Season 14 Finals.
So we have a Royal there in the top left, and in the bottom right, we have Soulkey. So cross spawns a little bit further, which can help against rushes. We haven't actually seen anyone do cross spawns yet on Arkanoid. We've had a lot of rushes on this map. A lot of very aggressive plays.
Yeah, which isn't surprising. I mean, I think one of the challenges of this map is that unless you've played a ton of games on it, it can be not very clear when the enemy is going to get to you. And are they going to play very passive, or are they going to try to end the game immediately? By the way, guys, since we're going to have a little bit of downtime here, we just want to say thank you, everybody who's been supporting us on Patreon, patreon.com/ASL English. If you sign up, you're supporting Tastosis and me and the people that help make this English cast possible, and you get access to the secret Tastosis podcast.
That's right. A lot of episodes on there of that.
Yeah.
And just the most fascinating conversations you guys have ever heard.
We solve all the problems in the world.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
You can hear about our mundane lives, which is just
it really
which
is.
Mostly just revolves around StarCraft and streaming and casting.
Yep.
By the way, pool and then extractor. So this is going to be 9 pool speed.
Right. So that's over pool, and with the extractor, he might go like Hydra or something. I'm not entirely sure what we're going to see here.
I thought it was just going to be speedlings. I thought he's just going to try to chew his way through the middle of the map and get to the other side.
Yeah.
But let's see. To be honest, I don't know how confident these guys are on this map, but I'm still trying to kind of get my head around this map personally.
Yeah. Just to mention, right, Royal played against Shine on this map, if I'm remembering this correctly, and ended up doing like a Wraith play with a pretty fast expansion. Here, he's actually going 2 racks in his main. So if he goes 2 racks gas, which is what it looks like it's going to be, this is just going to be really strong against whatever it is Soulkey's doing here. So that's a unbelievably fast layer, Tasteless.
Yeah.
That is the fastest layer. For a 2-hatch Mutaplay, layer starts at 3 minutes. This started at 2:08 or something.
Yeah.
This is so fast.
And it looks like I was wrong about 9 pool speed. I don't think... Well, he might get speed later. I don't need to try to be too clairvoyant here with what's going to happen. It will eventually reveal itself. But yeah, super quick layer. Maybe for Spire, maybe for drop. I'm not totally sure. I guess with drop play, you'd have to be, there would be a couple transits you'd have to make from Overlord to Overlord to get anything over there very quickly. But this is very cool to see what he's doing.
Yeah, it could end up being like a lurker play. It kind of looks like Spire right now, which is very weird if he goes Spire. He's basically looking to blindside him and get there before there's any anti-air, if that's the case. So, if it's going to be lurker, he's got to put down the Hydro Stent pretty quickly here. But just right now, clearing out everything with those links, I got to tell you, this is already the most teched out game I may have ever seen. The fact that Soulkey is going 1-hatch Spire, which is not even really a build, and he's trying to do that to catch Royal, and then Royal is doing literally the safest thing that you could ever do. Just 1 base, 2 racks Marine Mech. It's not even a build anymore. This was a build.
This was a build in 1998,
20 years ago.
Yeah. Literally, if you go back and you could find the oldest StarCraft games that were recorded. We're talking about I don't know, free Mira or players that we don't really even mention that often anymore, where they're dressed in spacesuits. Because, that was before they, realized the game was cool on its own and they didn't need to play into whatever kind of theme the game was about. The build that Terran's doing is what you'd see Terrans do on every map. Was 2 barracks, Medic Marine, and this was, now we realize how important it is to get a second base up, because you double the income is insane. But he is basically just going to chip away through the middle of the map, basically digging a tunnel down to the bottom. And if I'm seeing this correctly, I don't think Zerg has any recourse at all once these Marines get here. This may be like an extremely straightforward kill.
It could be. It could be. And Soulkey kind of knows it's coming because he did get scanned. So that's like a crazy fast scan. Now he sees that being attacked. I don't know if he's going to get the Sunkens up in time. He is going to have 6 Mutalisks and whatever else he can muster. But that is not much against this Bioforce.
I think he can just go around the Sunks, too. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought the Sunks were finishing. Those creep colonies are just now finishing. So the Mutas are out. The Lings are going to be drawn in. A bunker started. He's already damaged the first Sunken colony to the point where it's going to be killed the moment it finishes.
Yeah, it does pop out. Now hold the phone, Tasteless. The Mutas are clearing the Marines and Medics. Okay, so this game is so wild. Some more Marines are coming down, but this is starting to look really bad for Royal.
Yeah.
Like, really bad.
Well, here's the problem, man, is that now you basically have one shot to do that. Now that this is actually a ground map, that's not a good way to explain it. They're no longer isolated from each other. There's a diagonal line that connects the two bases together. So now, what's funny about this is we were talking about how this is kind of like a semi-island map, and the features of it are very different. The problem for Royal right now is he's going to run into the same problems that everybody in the first 2 years of StarCraft faced as Terran versus Zerg, is that what do you do on what happens if the Zerg gets a second base up and you're still on one base and your first push didn't work?
Yeah, like even if you have 2 bases up and that double income from what Royal is on right now, these Mutalisks are going to pose a problem. But the fact that it's going to be 2 base against 1 base, he's just now getting his factory started, that is a normal factory start time for an expansion-based Terran play. Like that would be normal there. So he's just really far behind where he would be in a standard game, whereas Soulkey now with 2 bases, like, he can produce a hell of a lot of mutas, man. And as long as he keeps pressure on, I really like him winning this game.
Did he just kill a Marine there? Did he kill his own Marine? I might have missed that.
He might have. Sometimes your attack moving real quick, and occasionally you'll kill your own unit. It happens.
So he's going to get that 3rd barracks and the starport. And so he's, at this point in time, and I think he doesn't have a choice, by the way, but he is leaning in to the 1 base play. Probably going to wait for a vessel to come out and then try to push once more.
I wonder, like, it might be quicker to get a different form of anti-air, but maybe too expensive. The vessel is going to be, like, the best bang for your buck, probably. But it takes so long to get to a vessel with a radiate from here. So that is going to slow him down massively. And the thing is, if you split the irradiated mute out very quickly, then the vessel takes a long time to gain value. So while this is a real thing that Terran players know how to do, these like 1 base Marine pushes and everything, it doesn't look promising right now.
No, I mean, this is pretty bad, to be honest. I mean, the fact that Zerg's going to be on a 3rd base, I mean, this is almost to the point of no return. It's funny, but this really does. And by the way, I don't think Royal's strategy was bad here. I get, but it really was hinged on that first push, kind of getting in there and killing him. This does illustrate why you see Terrans so focused on getting an additional base in the matchup right away. I mean, Zerg's figured out pretty early on because, the hatchery is, the only source to make anything in the game. Zerg's, they figured out right away, well, we need to get a second base, we need to do it quickly. But, yeah, I mean, it does kind of illustrate some of the problems with not having, 1 base. Interestingly enough, as a little side note here, all RTS games, they usually seem to initially start out with everybody on 1 base as they try to figure it out. And as time passes and people figure the game out more and more, you start to see that they're always getting a second base right away. It's all about the fast expand opening.
Well, as things kind of get boiled down, like what you can actually end up defending, right? Like how good you get at actually holding those positions. It's just like, well, yeah, then more economy is going to matter a lot. And I think Soulkey is going to show that in spades here, because while this is getting ready, like he's got a radiate on the way, he's got a vessel on the way, Soulkey's going to have lurkers shortly. And, I mean, there's too much. You can't irradiate it all. He doesn't have an add-on for his factory, so he can't even get a siege tank. How is he going to break through against Lurker? It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. The combination of Mutalisks, Lurkers, and Zerglings is very, very scary. The Zerg has to pick one to start the game out with. Usually it's Mutalisk tech first, but we do see Lurker play. as kind of more of a curveball opening here. But yeah, I mean, we're seeing the CC. It's going to land over there shortly. I'm sorry, that is a command center. Okay, I thought I made that up for a second. He's going to land that over there at the expansion. But dude, I mean, we're going to be having that was a Queen's Nest back there, right? He's going to have a hive tech soon. This is going to be rough because the game completely changes once the first Dark Swarm in the game is cast.
Yeah, as soon as Consume is done, then Terran has to play a very different looking type of game, and Soulkey is just going to kind of make himself invincible. He's keeping pressure on. Okay, a nice first irradiate. That was actually a good one. Soulkey had a little bit of a trouble splitting that out, but he still has a ton of mutas. And with these lurkers up, I mean, you can walk across the map as Royal, but I don't know what you think you're going to get done. Maybe he can kill the side temples and try to find a location that doesn't have enough lurkers. But that's really, I feel like the window is very quickly closing on options here for Royal.
Looks like Royal's going to try to open up a different part of the map, but I think this is actually a pretty good idea. I don't know that it's going to work, but I get it. I mean, he can't go through that bottleneck position there. He needs to have multiple areas to try to attack into.
So the lurkers getting set up, more lurkers being made in. Here comes that Bioforce, attacking the temple there for a moment. Does get hit by those lurker spines. Obviously, he knows he can't really get in there. The Muta's coming back for a bit of harassment. Oh, God, he's going to lose the vessel.
No!
Oh, man. A good irradiate, but, losing one of your first vessels, especially when you're on, one gas, just so painful.
By the way, does it feel like it's been a million years and this command center still isn't there?
Yeah.
It's insane. I mean, this is 1 base now versus 3 base. We still don't have SCVs mining minerals or gas at this location over here where the mutas are attacking.
Oh, man. And with the 3 gas Soulkey here, this is around the time that you're going to have, 5 Raxes going, double port vessels going and all this, but right now he's frantically trying to get this command center to actually land and get some mining done, losing a bunch of SCVs here, which is painful as well. And as you can see, Soulkey is just kind of defending each location while he goes up to Defiler.
Yeah, this is, it's hard to watch, man. It's tough. I mean, I think that Royal's playing, this is going to sound weird. It's like he's playing an S-class game, but from an unwinnable position. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes. He's making all the right decisions, but again, I think the big decision he didn't make correctly was to get a base up early on, and instead to elect to try to end the game right away. And honestly, I think you and I were on the same page, Tastosis. I kind of thought he was going to get in there and kill him. Oh.
Yeah, the Sunkens did feel a little bit late there, but, I mean, Soulkey had just exactly enough. It's kind of funny, the one hatch Muta opener cut the Mutas out just in time for this rush. So I thought that Royals build was countering Soulkey's, but in reality it was Soulkey's that was countering Royals, which kind of blows my mind.
Yeah, I mean, Soulkey basically going for a pretty straightforward game post-Muta tech. I think Soulkey had plans to try to be the first to initiate in this game, and then to his surprise, Royal kicked in the door and tried to attack. But, Soulkey, I think, very excellently basically held the rush. And here we are. And it's really Royal kind of up against a wall here. He's not really able to make any progress. I suppose it wouldn't hurt. Oh, hold on. He's going to try to come in now. And
there is no way. That egg is so perfectly placed,
yeah.
And so are the lurkers. You just can't do anything.
I'm glad you pointed out the egg, because that might just look like, oh, he just randomly decided to make a lurker egg there. But no, the egg is a great way to draw the Marines right when they get there. They'll end up attacking the egg. And so it's harder to manually move stuff through there.
Yeah, the Marines have kind of weird AI around that. It's a very common thing to put, for instance, a Queen's Nest in front of your sunken colony, something like that, just because the Marines have a very hard time getting up and actually attacking at that point. Now, Royal is continuing to open up these sides, but Soulkey is going into Lurker Hydra, which is Lurker Hydra Defiler is quietly a ridiculously strong strategy. You have to start going mass siege tanks, or you have to be so have so much on the map and start using dropships and stuff. And it doesn't feel like Royal can do either. I think this was a great choice from Soulkey to go for this comp.
Yeah, Lurker Hydra Defiler, kind of a throwback as well to the old days, huh? This is back in the days of some of you may remember the Norwegian player Slayer. who outside of Korea was the absolute best. I mean, would go Lurker Defiler quite often to great success versus Terran.
Yeah, the Hydra Lurker Defiler is like really good against Vessels. The Vessels have a hard time really gaining the value that they normally get. So you can see he throws this down. Look at that. The Hydra's just gunning down Marines. Obviously, they are invincible underneath there. Plague's starting to go down. What a tough position. Royal's going to have to back up and run away once again.
Yeah, I will say I think this style from Zerg, and Zerg players feel free to correct me if I'm wrong about this, but I do feel like it's harder to pull off. Lurker, Defiler, Hydra, but it's extremely deadly. One thing to keep in mind is that if you plague a bunch of Marines, all the Hydras one-shot them.
Yes, that's a big part of it, and of course you're plaguing Vessels and getting those, and again, your Irradiates just in general, you're getting like zoned back, right? Like it's one thing to dodge Scourge, like you just pull your Vessel back into the Marine line, but the Hydras do such a good job gunning down everything when it's been plagued.
All right, I mean, he's actually fighting back pretty well. I love the D-Matrix Firebat in the front to tank.
Yeah.
Dude, this game is going on. I mean, I think Zerg's in a better position, but Zerg has basically been on the defense the whole time, minus the Muta Harass at the Terran's expansion for a little bit here.
I do think, though, that Soulkey is... wow, he even got drops here in Overlord speed. So he is setting up a drop. And, I mean, as soon as you have a Dark Swarm and a Lurker at a base, that's so hard to actually clear out for Royal, especially considering he's so far forward on the map. But, yeah, like, even though Royal is still playing, like you said, he's, like, kind of playing an S-class game, but it's not really working out for him, this kind of, like, dated, weird strategy that's going on. So, like, Soulkey, I still don't see him dying at any point, you know? Like,
no, I
mean, this
you're
is
right.
a little attack coming in and great, but then he just sends his units up, and he should not be losing to this.
Yeah, Dark Storm's going to come down. There are Firebats here. Keep in mind, that Firebat will kill all of these. Wait, Firebats do damage to Dark Storm, right?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
That's right.
Hi guys,
so
my name's Tasteless. I cast StarCraft. I'm an expert. Do Firebats do damage under Dark Storm? I don't know.
Dude, this is so funny. He has nothing that can hit that Firebat. The Firebat is actually killing everything. I can't even... That Firebat, Tasteless, is winning the game by itself right now. Do you see this? Do you
no, it's actually
this?
crazy. He's being healed up.
Just beat
He's a
all those
corporal.
links.
He's got 12 kills.
Dude, he needs to be higher than that. He needs to put that thing back under the swarm, man. And now he kills the hatchery. I can't even believe what I'm looking at.
Oh, they're going to be building
Firebat.
statues of that Firebat back over on Royal's side of the map. That Firebat's going to get his own holiday, man.
The Firebat literally, like, if he did not have that one Firebat, this base would still be up and mining.
Yeah.
Literally one Firebat. Oh my god. Soulkey has to be kicking himself right now, because that was a lot of damage, but his Hydra drop did a good job. It forced his command center back. He killed off a good amount of SCVs and everything. And we'll see if he can continue that. But, you know, Soulkey, he does have that base in the top right, which I think is incredibly important, especially considering he just lost a base. But is Royal going to be able to, like, break him?
I mean, if he does, it's going to be pretty phenomenal here. The problem, though, is, you know, as much as we're seeing these exciting fights from the Terran, and he is doing damage to the Zerg, you know, this base is not even being mined from right now. So, I mean, it just, you know, there's not going to be more opportunities here. And the thing for the Zerg is that, you know, he's got so many bases. I guess with the Terran having the third base up for a little bit, it's going to go on for some time now, but... Again, I just feel like it's going to be hard. It's hard for me to imagine a game where Soulkey is killed off here. He might be losing fights periodically, but we don't have quite that killing blow just yet.
Yeah, over time, you know, he's going to continue to plague things. He's going to continue to get value out of Dark Swarm, and I like these little drop attacks he's doing. It's so annoying. Look at this. You throw down a Dark Swarm, you have the Lurkers. Well, nothing here can really mine anymore.
Yeah, this is the problem. Oh, get under! Yeah, I mean, this is the issue. It's not hard for the Zerg to just have a drop come in and do a little bit of damage. Oh, man, the Scourge takes out that drop ship. And oh, you know, I really like the ideas here. This is actually so cool.
I like that, too. That is very, very fancy. What a location. But, yeah, he does have his own drops, right? So clears that pretty quickly. Cool idea, though. And it feels like Royal continues to put in the effort, but it's just he's losing slowly but surely here. He's like, okay, now we're remining this, but the main is gone, and I can't mine from my other base. and Soulkey re-secured the base that I killed, and all my vessels are red. You know, he's not really catching much of a break here.
Yeah, I mean, it's... Let's think, though. Like, I mean, if Terran could get the game to go on for longer, how... I guess the other question I got to ask myself is how viable is it... How possible is it even for Terran to get a 4th base? It doesn't seem like this map is designed at all with a 4th base in mind for a Terran player specifically in this matchup, right?
Yeah. You're definitely right about that. That would be like, I guess you just throw one down and pray, you know? Like expand somewhere towards the bottom left and just be like, well, I hope he doesn't hit there because there's really, like, Soulkey is just so much more mobile than him. There's no way he would be able to defend.
More Marines continuing to spill down here. But again, the Dark Swarm always mutes the attack. There's just not a lot you can do here. Keep in mind, though, you know, the number of times that Royal has been delayed from mining from both of his new bases. He's going to have plenty of minerals to go, so that we might be in for a pretty long game here. Another drop's going to come in, and unless that's the fire bat from earlier, I don't think this base is safe.
No, this is a different one. We're going to see if he can clear all this by himself, though. 2 lurkers doesn't seem very likely. GG is called, and I tell you, I think Royal put up a good fight. I'm surprised the game lasted 20 minutes after that opening, though.
Yeah, that was a wild one, man. I mean, Soulkey, I think... Again, look, that whole game really did come down to the start. When Soulkey held, very hard for Terran to get an additional base up. It does seem like that map is a little bit boxy. It's a little bit difficult to try to navigate and get to these other bases. And really, Soulkey was able to block with lurkers every step of the way and really deny the Terran having any opportunities other than that one base that Royal got, but it just was not enough.
Well, don't say Royal got it. It's a base that Firebat killed by himself. Yeah. So very impressive from the Firebat. Soulkey maybe a little bit sloppy there, but it seems like his prep just outdid it. Like, this is the quickest Marine medic rush that I've pretty much ever seen. And just taking a look, like the Muta's popping this quickly. He just barely had enough to hold it.
It's funny. I actually thought that Terran had won at this moment. I thought, okay, that's it. But yeah.
Well, it certainly looks good right there, right? Like, it really does.
Seems like the Marines got a little bit spread out there.
Yeah.
And yeah, maybe went a little bit too hard onto the Mutas. Maybe it would have been better to try to get the Sunks and then just hug the turret, but I don't know. I guess that, Soulkey just had this mathed out perfectly. And so Soulkey takes number 1. Again, that game cannot be representative of what the other games are going to be like because the map is just so different. That is sort of a whole different game of StarCraft. It's a whole other can of worms that you're opening up when you play a game like that.
It really is.
All right, guys, we're going to go to a break. When we come back, Game 2 of Royal versus Soulkey.
두 번째 4강 진출자. 드디어 4강에서 이 선수를 만나게 되네요. 김민철 선수 축하드립니다. 이번 시즌 장난 아니에요. 이게 바로 약간 NSU 동료들의 힘인가.
NSU라는 걸 달고 하니까 소속감이 있어가지고 더 잘하고 싶은 생각이 있으니까요.
오늘은 김민철 선수의 ASL 역사, ASL 히스토리를 좀 쫙 되짚어보는 시간을 가져보려고 합니다. 시즌2부터 함께 했어요. 시즌2 때는 24강에서 좀 빠르게 탈락을 했었고 시즌3 때 16강이 죽음의 조였어요. 연보성 선수, 김태경 선수, 김정호 선수. 이때 딱 1위로 8강에 진출했거든요. 그때 생각나요?
ASL에서 처음으로 보여준 거라고 생각을 했거든요. 그래서 아직까지 기억을 하고 있는데 그때 진짜 잘하긴 했다. 이 생각은 들기는 해요.
딱 한 경기 꼽으라면
게임 내용도 기억나거든요. 태경이 형이랑도 했었는데 그때도 안드로메다에서 이제 히드라 올인으로 이제 이어버린 그런 게임이 있었어요.
이후에 시즌3 8강에서는 그때 처음 다전제에서 승리를 거두셨어요. 도재욱 선수를 상대로. 그때도 풀세트 접전 끝에 좀 승리를 거뒀는데 나 김민철이야 라고 좀 각인을 시켜주는 시즌이 됐고 그 다음부터는 살짝 좀 그래프가 꺾인 듯한 느낌이 있었어요. 시즌 5, 6, 7, 8, 9까지도 좀 빠르게 탈락을 했었어요. 이 8강의 벽이 너무 높다라는 느낌을 꽤나 오랫동안 좀 받으셨을 것 같은데 그때는 좀 떠올려보면 어때요?
너무 안 풀리는 거예요. 이렇게 안 풀릴 수가 있나 싶을 정도로 왜 여기만 안 맞지 나랑? 여기랑 안 맞는다. 내 탓을 하기보다는 여기 경기장 탓이다. 이 생각을 좀 이제 가지면서 그런 생각이 좀 잘못되지 않았나 이런 생각이 좀 들어요.
리드머니자로도 막 굉장히 약간 절박하게 게임하는 이미지가 있었을 때잖아요. 네.
게임으로 이제 간절함을 보여줄 때였으니까.
그리고 나서 이제 김민철 선수에게 저저전이 약하다라는 또 굴레가 좀 씌워지게 됐는데 그동안에 이 시즌 10 때 8강에서 이몽규 선수를 만났는데 그때도 사실 저그전 패배를 하면서 극복해야 되는데 이 저저전을 약간 이런 숙제 아닌 숙제가 남아 있었을 것 같아요.
저저전을 못한다라는 소리를 이제 계속 듣다 보니까 점점 위축이 되더라고요. 자신감도 잃고 질 때마다 나조차도 이제 나를 안 믿는 거예요.
김명훈 선수가 정말 이제 운명같이 또 8강에서 만났었어요. 그때 딱 두 선수를 뽑았던 기억이 아직도 나거든요. 김명훈 선수와의 만남이 좀 부담스러웠을 것 같아요.
많이 부담스러웠어요. 저그 대 저그전에 대한 자신감도 없었었고 특히나 저를 너무 잘 알고 있는 사람이잖아요. 정말 붙기 싫은 상대였거든요. 근데 이제 노력을 해서 이길 뻔했지만 이길 뻔했는데 이게 그러니까 저의 그 연습 디테일이 조금 아쉬웠다라고 생각이 들더라고요. 이 얘기하면 좀 저도 싫긴 하건데 명훈이 형한테 제가 다시 배웠어요. 저저전을.
어떤 부분을 배우셨을까요?
저그 대 저그전에 대한 개념적인 부분을 좀 부족하다고 좀 느꼈거든요. 그때 되니까 이제 내가 왜 떨어졌는지 이제 알 것 같다. 괜히 그 발목이 잡혔던 게 아니었다라는 생각이 들더라고요. 좀 진작에 알려줬으면 좋았을 텐데. 자기 우승할 거 다 하고
이룰 거 다
이럴 거 하고 이제 좀 실력 떨어지니까 이제 알려주는 거예요. 네, 그 배운 걸로 이번 시즌에서 제가 명훈이 형을 떨어뜨렸어요.
시즌 13에서도 김민철 선수에게 저그전 챌린지가 계속 좀 주어지는 느낌이었어요. 3저그저에 또 들어가셨잖아요. 근데 거의 김민철 저저전 극복해라 이 정도면 거의 이 정도 과제가 주어졌던 것 같은데 그때 또 살아남으셨어요?
좀 자신감이 있었어요. 근데 첫 경기에서 이제 재동이 형한테 제가 졌단 말이에요. 그거 지고 안 되나? 이 생각도 또 들더라고요. 근데 패자전에서 이제 또 이기고 최종전 이기니까 나 극복했다 이 생각은 들었어요. 이번 시즌에 또 이제 16강에서 저그 조우가 걸렸는데 근데 이번에도 좀 웃긴 게 첫 경기에서 또 졌어요. 그래가지고 저그 대 저그전만 해가지고 또 올라가더라고요. 그게 좀 신기하긴 했어요.
그러니까요. 시즌 13하고 시즌 14를 좀 비교해보면 마치 평행이론처럼 16강에서 3저그조 그리고 또 8강에서 최강의 토스를 다 만났다. 근데 또 저번 시즌에는 정윤종 선수한테 풀세트로 또 지셨잖아요. 그래서 사실 이번에도 김태경 선수와 경기를 할 때 풀세트 갔을 때 평행이로? 저번 시즌처럼? 약간 그런 불안감이 좀 들지 않으셨어요?
좀 걱정거리가 좀 많았어요. 무아지경으로 했던 것 같아요.
경험을 통해 성장하는 선수라고 좀 느껴지는데요. 이제 4강 상대는 김지성 선수입니다. ASL 내에서 저그전 10연승을 달리고 있는 선수거든요. 김민철 선수에게 사실 또 하나의 큰 산이다라는 느낌도 있으실 것 같은데요.
저는 무서워하는 상대는 아니거든요. 운영적으로 갔을 때는 안 찍을 자신이 있기 때문에 문제 없다고 생각해요.
멋진 자기 PR이네요. 김민철 선수의 7전제를 보는 것만으로도 굉장히 좀 가슴 설레는 분들이 많으실 것 같은데 진짜 멋진 모습 보여주셔야죠.
게임하면 명경기가 좀 잘 나와요. 조연 역할을 좀 많이 했어요, 제가. 근데 이제는 4강에서 주연 역할을 해서 첫 결승까지 올라가고 싶습니다.
기대하겠습니다.
Welcome back, everybody. We are going to be going into Game 2, but before we do that, we just want to plug the Patreon. That's patreon.com/ASL English. If you love StarCraft, if you love the ASL, if you love us, this is the best way to support what we're doing.
That's right. We would not be here without you guys. ASL would be gone. Well, at least our English cast
would be dead. No,
we would be gone as well.
But look, if it's $5, $100, $1 million, whatever you want us to do, we appreciate this. Especially $1 million. Actually, only give us $1 million. Is that okay? Yeah. No, but seriously, we really do appreciate it, and we hope to get your support. We do have a goal for this season. I don't know if we're going to reach that goal for the Patreon, but Anything you can give, we love you for it. Thank you so much.
Indeed, indeed. And we are almost done the tournament now.
Yeah.
Right? We are in the round of 4. Only 3 play days really remain. So, actually, I forgot. Are we doing a third place match?
Tastosis, I only cast this show. How would I know that? No,
I know.
We've had ASLs where we've done the third place, fourth place match, and then we've had ones where we
always.
didn't. Yeah.
Yeah. So
sorry that we don't know that, guys, but we're trying to avoid spoilers. We can have somebody check for us. Or we can contact the studio after we're done with this recording. But yeah, man, not much tournament left. Although I'll tell you what, this has been a special one. I'm going to say it. People are going to be screaming at their monitors, but I really kind of like not having Flash in ASL. I really kind of like it.
Well, it opens up the field dramatically. Like, instead of having someone that is over 50% to win, he literally had a winning record in GSLs. ASLs. Like, he won more of the ASLs than he lost, for a while there. It certainly does open up the field. Because if he was in the top 4 right now, he'd be like, well, we know who wins, but who can give some good games, right?
Yeah. Who's going to try their best against Flash? I know, it's more fun, man. Anyways, guys, it's time to go into game 2. Right now, Soulkey up with a 1-0 lead. Let's see if Royal can start to come back or if it's just going to get worse for him.
In the bottom left, we have Royal. And in the top left, we have Soulkey.
Okay, so a couple things to note on this map. There are some pretty dirty tricks you can do with drops, especially if you're kind of close to each other, because you have these areas near your base that are elevated. You can also crack open different parts of the map to get access to different areas. That should play a fairly big role here coming forward, especially in this matchup if the game goes on long.
Yeah, I think I haven't seen any long Terran vs. Zergs on this map as of yet. Again, it is very similar to Blockchain. It's like based off of Blockchain, which we actually had in ASL for a while. And one thing I do recall very clearly from Blockchain is that Crazy Zerg was really quite popular, right? Because you can just kind of take those back expansions and you get this extra gas, and it's like you have this basically 1 point that you have to defend, and it just seems like a very strong strategy for Zerg overall. But I think that this is a better map than Blockchain was. It's like a little bit more fair. Like Terran's going to have a little bit more options to attack if you try that type of strategy. So yeah, not entirely sure what we're going to see, but I feel like I'm waiting to see what Soulkey's going to do this game more than Royal, which wasn't the case on most of the maps, I think.
Yeah, that drone's going to come in here and start to harass the SCV that's making this barracks. Super annoying for the Terran, so he'll have to pull these other SCVs out to try to combat that. Again, I gotta say, I was really pleasantly surprised by that game 1. I feel like we've had some games that are kind of short and basic on Neo Arkanoid, but that one was actually a real thriller here. By the way, the drone micro getting a little bit crazy here. Keep in mind, the drone has ranged attack. I think the SCV's attack counts as a ranged attack, but it's basically a melee attack.
Yeah, it's range 0.
Yes.
But it is ranged. So it doesn't work under Darkstorm, but it also has no range. It's the lowest range attack in the whole game.
In some ways,
that's crazy.
In some ways, it's the worst attack to have when you consider the matchup itself.
Yeah.
But so a drone can fire at a distance, as can a probe. Nice harass to start things off here.
Yeah, he was trying pretty hard there. That was some effort he put into that little harassment. Now, the drone is sneaking through to 12 o'clock, so he's actually going 3 hatches at 3 different bases to open. And normally this is offset a little bit because one of the hatches is at another location where you could do a marine pressure and then force them to sunk in 2 locations, right? They'd have to make sunken colonies at their natural, then at the 3rd. Here, that's not really the case. It's I guess he could go after the eggs, but that's an easier puzzle for Soulkey to solve than if this was in the top right main, right?
Right. So that base is going to be pretty safe for the time being. The SCV does come over there and scout it. Is there any? Is it worth it at all to maybe like try to make a barracks up in that place where the Zerg's expanding at 12 o'clock?
Well, that's kind of a cute idea.
Because I mean, I would imagine if you
Like,
made
I
one
guess if you
barracks and then
had
a bunker.
racks, yeah, Tasteless, look how smart you are.
Oh
It's what
my
he's doing.
God!
Dude.
All right,
Tasteless.
all right.
Why are
Listen,
you the
why
greatest
am I
gamer?
casting and not winning this tournament? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. Yeah, and you would win it as Terran too, which is
That's
extra
crazy, yes.
impressive.
That is,
it's a good call, Tasteless. Look at that. That's crazy.
man, this is going to be difficult, I think, for the Zerg to deal with. I mean, you could basically, I don't know how far along the hatchery is, but if you could get a bunker there and it finishes, I think you just kill that base.
Yes, yes. It would be pretty easy to kill at that point, but if he figures it out, he definitely can block it. You know, you're only spawning out of here, so it's going to have to be, like, found immediately.
Well, I guess,
because if he just makes, like, 2 drones, he's going to lose it.
he could also just keep making Marines for a while and then come down later. You don't have to reveal your plans either. In my head, I was thinking bunker rush, but I guess this is probably a more sensible approach, is to just kind of wait and then surprise them. And that's going to really throw Soulkey off here. Oh, this is hilarious.
Isn't it? That's like, that SCV is invincible in the middle until mutas.
Oh my God, that Marine is so close to being seen. I feel like, if he just turns his gun like he is, then he's going to reveal himself.
Yeah, he's going to stand very, very still and, like, stand sideways and suck in his gut to make sure that they don't
he's
see him
standing up
there.
straight.
Yeah. Now, a fire bat pops out, so I think this was a good call as well, just in case there were lings down here or anything.
Fire bat's a little bit more durable in a moment like this.
Yeah, drones can't really come up to fight it. So he's going to start throwing down Sunkens as much as possible. I think that Royal just mathematically gets this.
Yeah, I think he just kind of comes out on top. I actually... Oh! Soulkey's so good.
You know what? Yeah, he really is. And he canceled and then rebuilt there. Or maybe he just sent another one. But that's pretty big.
So
now, he does leave that one sunken.
I want to point out, when the Sunken Colony finishes, it loses 100 HP. So if you have a Sunken Colony with 100... a Creep Colony with 100 HP left over, it goes down to 1 HP.
That's right. And he is actually he's going to, well, for now, save it.
Oh, this is kind of crazy. I think that fire bat's going to be too low. It gets sniped. And, 2 lings is enough to kill a Marine right when it comes out. So in a pretty crazy back and forth there, Soulkey manages to recover from that position and is now going to still be able to mine from that third base. But a lot of drones were killed. It was definitely a pretty big interruption in his development.
Wow. What an interesting early game here. Like, that was a lot of money that was spent trying to defend that, but it was also a good amount of money spent there from Royal, where he's, like, pumping out all these Marines. He has this barracks now that's not going to be used for a while. He's going to try to put some pressure on over here, but the Sunkens are going to just barely finish to save him.
Yeah.
I think.
Maybe not. Maybe not, Artosis. Oh my God. The drones, the sunk goes down. Muta hatches. Oh my God. I think this might just barely be enough.
Oh, so Soulkey does end up holding just barely. So, dude, these guys, like, Soulkey is barely holding everything. Game 1, Game 2, like, he is on the brink of losing everything at all moments. Like, this is actually very impressive. This is the best way to hold things, really, is just barely.
Yeah, because it shows that he's cut enough corners to, get extra drones out. But yeah, he's barely surviving this, and you can see Royal has now had to completely pull back into his base. He's making turrets right now. Soulkey is not being overly ambitious either. He's just trying to see if he can't do a little bit of chip damage to the exterior of the base. I gotta say, man, I am loving this game.
It is a fascinating one, no doubt about that. Now Soulkey, with this control, has these mutas out. Royal, though, this is the first time we've seen him on 2 bases early on, so he's going to have a much better economy than what we saw on Arkanoid. A lot more options to try to fight back. And it looks like he might go tank tank Valkyrie here.
Yeah, that's very cool. And that's going to directly address the mutas. Once you get 2 or 3 Valkyries out, the mutas, one thing about Muta Micro, for those who are not, aware of the kind of nuance of how units are controlled, you group one Overlord or a larva, or you could trap a Zergling somewhere on the map and do that, but you have one of those units in the control group that's on the opposite side of the map. And the way the AI works is you want to have all they try to keep the units at a certain tightness together in that control group. And that's how you have these mutas that almost look like they're just one unit moving around. But when you get a Valkyrie out, I mean, that makes the mutas extremely vulnerable to the splash damage that Valkyrie has.
And you're exactly right. When you're getting like 2 to 3 Valkyries, the Mutalisk Swarm is like having a terrible time against that. So we could see, like, there's 2 different ways you can approach it. You can get even more aggressive with the Mutalisks and try to snipe Valkyries.
Yeah.
Or you can just kind of switch it up and get into lurkers a little bit more quickly. But of course, that is why right now Royal's going siege tanks. He's kind of countering everything that Soulkey's doing.
Yeah, and again, you know, the mutas have not really gone too far into the base, so he might not be fully aware of what's coming here. Your muta vision is not that great, so it's going to be driven out. Looks like the Valkyrie now. He's ready to bring this in. What is he doing? He needs to keep that Valkyrie alive. Oh my God!
Dude. That's exactly what my Valkyrie builds look like, Tasteless. Oh, very painful. To lose the first Valkyrie, like especially with builds like this, 2 Valkyries is way better than... it's like way more than twice as good as 1 Valk. And he's going to lose the second one? Oh, man, Tasteless. Soulkey is crushing right now.
Yeah, this is... it's weird. He had the exact right idea, Royal did, but the exact... piss-poor execution to ruin it.
Yes.
I mean, he's losing the units that were supposed to win in the game.
You have to be so incredibly careful with the first couple Valkyries. Like, you know, there's little micro tricks you can do, but if you start trying to do them, then the mutas can oftentimes, like, get away without any volleys. So it seems like he was... like, Royal was being a little bit greedy, a little bit over-eager to actually engage with the Valkyries, and Soulkey just turned on him. Now, look at this. Oh, my God. Comes in and almost does a full intercept on that Valkyrie.
Oh, those missiles, man, connecting on the mutas. This is going to be an important moment, by the way. If Royal can actually crack this position open, he'll probably just win the game outright. But we have a lot of mutas. It seems almost like Soulkey's like doubling down, so to speak, on the mutas themselves. He takes out the 2 tanks, and between the 4 sunken colonies and the 2 lurkers and mutas for change, I don't really think that he's going to be able to bust that with infantry. He needs to get another tank there. But the problem is that it's frankly so easy to just continuously snipe whatever tank comes up. He's going to come in here and push. That's going to draw those lurkers back down. Again, though, I don't think this position is manageable.
Oh, and Royal loses yet another Valkyrie. These mutas still gaining so much value. The next tank comes up, but 1 tank pushing is so slow, especially with the mutas slowing down these reinforcements. I tell you, like, I think Royal had all the coolest, best ideas this game, and just Soulkey is outplaying him. He's just, like, muscling through bad situations.
Yeah, hold on a second, though. Nice targeting. I think almost a bit of an overextension there from Soulkey. I don't think he's going to have to pay for it with the game itself, but he needs to be careful. You know, when you get that far forward here with the lurkers, the defense is getting a little bit flimsy. That being said, I think the Terrence push is laughably small, so...
3 Marines and 5 medics. It's it's not that much damage.
It's a pretty measly army. But, he's slowly filling it in. And this push is not done yet, Artosis. And the muta count isn't high enough to snipe the tanks. And I don't know, man. Let's not give up on Royal just yet.
He does still have a shot. You're right. Like, another tank coming up. He's reinforcing those Marines. He has, like, Valkyrie number 6. We'll see if that actually can live. Scourge come in, pick it off, but he loses a lot of the mutas there. He's had to remake these mutas a few times to try to hold on. It's not like you can just run up with a couple lurkers and snipe all this. So it's actually like Royal may end up just killing him here in a game where I feel like Soulkey did a great job.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. We were talking about how throughout all of the games so far, Soulkey just barely holds off everything. I think this is going to be the first time he just barely doesn't make it. I mean, we're seeing that the tanks are getting closer and closer to the hatchery. And right now, basically, Soulkey has to keep sacrificing drones, turning them into sunken colonies to buy time. And it's going to start getting worse here.
Oh, the 3 siege tanks are going to be able to gun down everything so quickly. In fact, he's not even targeting the sunkens. Well, I guess he does now that one pops up, but really focusing on the hatchery as much as possible. Really and that's going to be
it. GG, what a game.
Yeah, that was pretty sick. Like the hidden barracks that you guessed, and then, you know, going up into the Valkyries, but Soulkey picking off like 5 or 6 Valkyries in a row. Still, though, those siege tanks just a bit too strong. Soulkey did not get up to the pilers quickly enough, was not able to control with his mutas quite well enough either.
But most importantly, I predicted that barracks being hidden at that third base.
You've got the cheese brain, man. You're like, wait, is there a problem? Can't you just hide a building to deal with it? I'm like, oh my gosh, tasteless. Your infectious ideas are going to ruin Pro Terrans.
So we're tied at 1-1. And I think this is going to continue to probably be a really close nail-biter of a series.
Yeah, like both those games, like the beginning of game 1 was pretty intense, and then this entire game was really intense. I actually, when Soulkey got the first 2, I thought he was going to like run away with the game, to be honest.
Yeah, me too. It was a fun one, man. So we're going to be going to a break shortly here, guys, but coming back...
I think we might go into game 3.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we always did a break in between every game for ASL, but you might be right. I think they have different production rules for best of 7s versus best of 5s.
Yeah, they don't want to put on like 7 commercials or something. Like, we've seen Psy in that fake AI DJ enough times.
I can't believe that... By the way, guys, that in the commercials that you're going to see where it's Psy dancing around and then there's like some K-pop kid, it's not real. It's like an artificial intelligently made K-pop boy. Am I doing it right?
Artificially intelligently made.
Yeah, it's not real.
So you're saying God is real, Tasteless?
That's
okay,
right.
This is excellent.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I would, every time we'd have that break, I would make fun of that commercial to Tastosis, and then when we found it wasn't real, I'm like, what? I've been like trash talking a thing that's not real.
Yeah, like, wow, Tasteless, your life isn't wasted.
What next, Tasteless? You gonna make fun of cartoon characters and what losers they are?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe that's next.
Yeah, you just got to watch a bit more anime, Tasteless.
That's right.
I'll get into it.
And they're going down next. No one's safe from me.
Oh my God.
We're going to go to Vermeer here for map number 3. And we're getting now into very standard map territory. Vermeer and Allegro, for the next 2 maps, these are going to be a lot more of, at least map feature-wise, normal stuff. The kind of maps that, if you're an active player of the game, these are the maps you're probably going to be more familiar with.
That's right. And Vermeer is just like a very big macro map. So I'm excited to see like what they have to pull out here. I think from Soulkey's side, it's like, yeah, I guess he has a few options on openers, but he can play a pretty standard game. On Royal's side, like, he has been bringing such a variety of crazy builds. What will he actually end up bringing to Vermeer? Because Vermeer it's pretty big. It can get hard to play a big macro game against a good Zerg like Soulkey here.
Yeah, agreed. So coming into this, man, again, standard maps do not mean standard play, by the way. It doesn't. There's no rule that says that. So we could see some pretty wacky stuff from either one of these guys. And again, this is a pretty huge map. I mean, we could absolutely have a pretty epic and long and dramatic game here. And so far, honestly, when you put these 2 players together, they seem to make for pretty sick games.
I'm loving it so far. That last game was really awesome. Like the intensity back and forth of just barely holding all the time. But yeah, I think honestly with the first 2 games, both of them should be able to just wash those away because those are weird maps. Crazy things happened. I think you can almost just look at this as like that was the warm-up, and now we're just entering into a best of 5.
Yeah, it's a best of 5 now, Tastosis. I think we're going to get this game started. It does seem like they're keeping the players on camera for a little bit longer than they ever normally do, so I'm not sure if there's going to be some type of a delay here, but hopefully we do end up hopping into this game 3, because I am really enjoying this cast.
I tell you, TVZ is a great matchup. No doubt about it. I think the variety of maps really adding to that here today as well in ASL. And it looks like we are ready. Let's get into it. Map number 3 on Vermeer with Royal versus Soulkey.
You got this, Tastosis.
I got this, man. I almost called him Rush. I'm like, what? What am I doing? Those are Terrans. So we have in the top left, Royal. And in the bottom right, we have Soulkey. So that's a very far rush distance across Spawn and Vermeer, for sure. You know, I don't think there are things that it makes quite different. Like, for instance, Soulkey, if he takes a third base at another main, that's going to be the place where Royal can really lean the pressure on if he's going for a standard SK play. But honestly, I don't know what Royal is planning on bringing here. I could see him doing a variety of things. There's like Valkyrie rushes. There's, well, I guess he's not going to 8-rack, we can see that plainly right now. They're like, look, it's... Wait a minute, I thought that Koreans don't like
foreigners don't like StarCraft.
Yeah.
Someone go down there and tell them this is not StarCraft 2.
Yeah.
He's like, is this StarCraft? Is this StarCraft 2 the D-make?
Is this like when it became free to play? This is the bad graphics you get now for StarCraft 2. It's like, what?
Yeah, there is something very funny about, you know. By the way, guys, you know, you guys don't you see the casts, right? You see us doing our jobs. What you don't see is people at Blizzard or people in Korea being like, but I don't. StarCraft 1 isn't popular with foreigners, and then we make this Patreon and put this on YouTube and get all these views, and it's just hilarious, man.
Everyone loves
most of
Brood War.
our lives has been spent just having to explain to people that if you just get this casted in English, people will watch it. Like, games don't have to be new in order to be popular and viewed. In fact, a lot of times the best games to watch are the older ones like Smash Brothers. If you've ever watched competitive Tetris, that is totally hypnotizing.
It is, yeah. Boom, Tetris. I love it.
What did you just do there?
So,
why did you go boom Tetris? What does that mean?
Oh, dude, did you actually watch James Chen like casting the Tetris
Tetris for
championship?
Jonas, Tetris for Joseph.
Boom, Tetris for Joe.
Oh yeah, okay.
That's like the.
That was a legendary cast, man.
That was awesome. I love that. He's great. By the way, we have a strategy that I've never seen in StarCraft 1.
Yeah.
But this is from Wings of Liberty in StarCraft 2. This was called the Macaraks. Macaraks? Macaraks.
This is called the
Macaraks. But there was basically one of the best Terran players would hide a second barracks next to his own mineral patches, like outside, and then be able to put on pressure. So this is really weird.
Well, what's weird about it is
incredibly weird.
What's totally bizarre to me about it is that it's not going to get spotted, and I feel like the Marines end up in the same place. Hold on, let's let this game pan out. He basically wants to do a Marine rush, but what's going to happen is it's going to look like it's coming from one barracks where there might be two. And let's also keep in mind that
my God.
Soulkey has. Oh, did he see?
He saw no command center, and he saw a third
confirm.
Marine. You'd never have a third Marine here.
So yeah, basically, Soulkey, who has barely held off so many attacks in this game, might just die here. Now it seems like he scouted that there's no command center, but he's not.
Whoa.
He's not playing like it. So maybe he, vision in the game is kind of funny.
Yeah.
Sometimes you think you were just out of range when you weren't. But I think that this is going to be our shortest game.
It's a vulture. Maybe? Yeah, I think you're right about that, but he might be thinking it's a vulture. Now that he sees those Marines, he knows he's pretty much dead. It's a little bit shocking that he saw no command center. He did not react a little bit harder there. Now that bunker is not in range of the hatchery, just to throw that out there. So maybe there's some chance where he actually can end up holding on with Sunkens that he's making now. The drone's drilling up very nicely, but he starts to lose a lot. It's just so many more Marines than I think he was anticipating.
Yeah, he's doing a pretty good balancing act, by the way, of targeting the Lings, then the drones, then back onto the Sunk. He does back up. I don't think this bunker actually can reach the hatchery.
Yeah. It does not. That's right. So the second Sunken finishing up. This has been held. He did kill a good amount of drones. He's actually catching the Lings as they try to run past. Soulkey will be able to get some more intel with this at least. One thing to note is that there's still no gas for Royal. So this might just turn into him just making more and then sending SCVs or something, in which case Soulkey just throwing down more static D would be able to win. And if he tries to expand, then Soulkey just going up normally into Spire is probably going to be pretty strong.
So, it's remained the same throughout this series. Always very close fights. Soulkey, once again, narrowly survives that. I think it might have been, I don't know what he did wrong exactly. I felt like it was almost perfectly controlled here. But, you know, a lot of the same ideas at play here that were in Game 1, where if Terran goes on one base early and doesn't succeed, it's hard to get a second base up. That being said, there is a bunker there, and it seems like the Zerg was tied up in enough knots that he really wasn't able to get over to his side of the map. One of the things to remember, too, is, you know, Marines that aren't escorted with medics and are isolated will always get killed by Zerglings.
That's right.
It's very important.
They are, they're super weak. Like, you really need a critical mass of them together with stim and medics, and then they become, like, almost invincible.
Yeah,
But before that, they are actually, like, the weakest Tier 1 unit. Like, Zerglings are massively better.
It's funny. I don't know if I could maybe, like, try to Google this or, like, use the Wayback Machine or whatever, but there was a lot of outrage about medics being put in the game when Brood War came out. There was a lot. People were actually people thought the game had been broken. Because you got to remember, people weren't great at micro back then. Or people just didn't even... The concept of micro and, like, kiting, like, with a ranged unit running away and shooting, and then running away and shooting, so that idea was not available to everybody right when the game came out. Like, people had to start to see people do that to even understand, but it seemed like Stim Medic Marine, especially versus Zerg, was overpowered. But as time has passed on, we do see it's actually remarkably balanced.
Oh, yeah. If there weren't medics, the game would break. Like, you have to have medics for this matchup, or it would fall apart completely. Like, people sometimes ask if there could still be competitive vanilla StarCraft, like non-Brood War StarCraft, and I always let them know, absolutely not. Like, almost everything put in to Brood War helped to balance out the Mutalisk.
Yeah.
It's like Goliaths got better range, Valkyries were introduced, Corsairs were introduced, medics were introduced, and without these things, it's like you literally, DTs were introduced. It's a silly game. It's like not even anywhere close to balanced.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is crazy. You know, this is one of the funny things is that there, you know, are a couple games that have been made that are just going to sort of live on forever, and this is one of them for sure. And it's in part because, like, my God, people can just keep playing it and learning it, and, you know, think of the rotation of different finals we've had. You know, and the different matchups and the new strategies. Like, there's always something there. So in this game, just to kind of get back into what's actually going on, it's going to be 3-hatch Muta. Soulkey's on a fairly healthy economy, but Royal has recovered post the failed rush, and he's getting back on his feet.
Yeah, he's actually got a fair amount of Marines and medics on the map. He has good-looking tech at home, adding up his missile turrets right now. It seems like he's going to be safe against anything that Soulkey can do right now. And, I mean, it kind of looks like a standard game, just set back about a minute. You know? Like, just looking at, like, what they have, I'm like, yeah, if the clock said, like, 7 minutes, I would think it's completely normal. So... That's kind of cool. I like when this happens, when it's like a very bizarre opener, and then it just kind of gets into a more standard position.
Well, you know, the SCV is going to scout that third base. There's nothing very unique about that third up there, but, you know, as we say in many casts, you know, in the past here, the Zerg wants to take a main and then put lurkers on the ramp and basically make it inaccessible to a ground push. Terran has to get drops to get up there. But those lurkers aren't there yet. And this is a pretty sizable infantry army here in the middle of the map, honestly. Like, I don't know if he's going to get all the way over there, but this is kind of scary. One other feature of the map as well is this this high ground area behind the minerals. That makes Mutalisks very abusable to the Terran, because the Mutas can basically hit the SCV. The way that the vision in the game works, it's important to remember, because it's very different from StarCraft 2, is anything that fires from high ground, the moment it fires, and you're on the low ground, you couldn't see it before, after it fires, you get vision of it. StarCraft 2, you never get vision of the high ground.
The opposite of this, yeah.
Yeah, but basically because of that position, the Mutas take almost no damage when firing from that high ground area. And by the way, coming in here now, and he's basically on top of productions. This is one way that Terrans can just die outright. And this is going to force that infantry army all the way back. If you look at the mini-map, you'll see that army snaking back across the map.
And it actually turns back around, or at least a chunk of it does, towards that top right base. So it seems to me that Royal is being a little bit indecisive here. I think that Soulkey has made a great counterattack because he knew he couldn't hold off that big group of bio in the center. So it's like, okay, well, you go kill my third, and I'll do damage to you at home.
Now, we're watching this, but I'm hoping that the observer's eventually going to move the camera over to that base up there at the top right. There we go, because this is going to get picked off, and that's very bad for the Zerg. That's one of the key things the Zerg needs in developing here. So both these guys pretty, battered and bruised going into the mid game here. Zerg without that third base, but Terran getting beaten up so badly over here in the main. The Muta's sniping, and by the way, +1 air attack here from Soulkey.
Very, very good for a situation like this. Runs Lings up the ramp. It looks like Soulkey really wants to commit at this point and break it, and it doesn't look like that's going to work out.
So the idea there is that the Zerg can't fight the bunker, but it can fight the infantry if the Lings can get up there. And he just really badly overextended. That might even be more impactful than that third hatchery he lost, was that play back there. Because, Royal, while he's lost SCVs and Marines, he has not really been stifled in development. So, it's kind of rough, man. I mean, it looks like he's going to just keep trying to make Lings and Mutas and try to find something here. We don't have another base started up here. I'm really not liking this here for Soulkey.
No, not anymore, but he has reduced the SCV count like a fair amount there. Unfortunately for him, vessels are going to start popping out. Oh, God, a lot of the Lings getting caught. Yeah, this is going to be it. That's going to be GG. All right, a good victory there from Royal. A very bizarre...
Did you see Royal clapping? That was hilarious.
No.
Yeah, he won, and then he was clapping like he was in the audience. It was so funny.
That's awesome. Oh, man, that reminds me of Tasia. Remember when Tasia used to, win big matches in tournaments, and he'd do this little Tasia clap in StarCraft 2. But look, this game, Royal brought something basically completely new. We don't ever see a second barracks hidden location like that and then just 5-6 Marines made and sent across the map. That's bizarre. And I wonder if something like that could catch on.
Yeah, it's interesting. Again, Royal coming in with a lot of very, very planned out builds. Unfortunately, that one didn't win him the game in the sense that it didn't kill him outright. But Soulkey, ultimately, I think he thought he had a small window of time where he could just kill him off after he lost that third, and it backfired. And ultimately, it was just Soulkey has to tap out. He knows where the game's going. And keep in mind, in a best of 7, stamina is a factor, man. You are using a lot of energy to play through these games, and so Soulkey goes ahead and just exits that game. That's going to leave Royal up 2-1 here. And again, I'm loving this series so far.
It's honestly fantastic. I love the huge variety of play that we're seeing. I can't wait to see what's going to be on that next map. But I do think that we're going to go to a quick commercial break here. Yeah, there it is. And when we come back, it's going to be set number 4. We'll see if Soulkey can tie it up on Allegro.
ASL 시즌14 첫 번째 4강 진출자 김지성 선수입니다. 4강 진출자! 이 타이틀은 처음이에요.
이런 날이 올 줄 몰랐는데 결국 왔네요.
시즌 11부터 좀 김지성 선수가 심상치 않다. 이런 이야기들은 있었는데 이번 시즌에 뭔가 경기력도 그렇고 기세도 그렇고 치고 올라오는 느낌이 들거든요. 어느 시점이 좀 계기인 것 같아요?
제가 시간이 별로 많이 안 남아가지고 간절함이 중요했지 않았나.
이 간절한 만큼 경기력을 또 증폭시키는 이 증폭제가 없는 것 같기는 해요. 이번에는 김지성 선수 그동안 이 게이머 시절의 좀 발자취를 좀 저와 함께 되짚어보는 시간을 좀 가져보려고 하는데요. 스타트 프로리그가 종료되고 나서부터 시즌 4부터 참여를 하시기 시작했어요.
그렇게 오래됐어요, 제가?
네.
그래요? 근데 그때는 제가 진짜 제대로 스타를 한 게 아니라 재미로 아마 나갔을 거예요. 제대로 진짜 BJ 하면서 스타 한 거는 한 시즌 7, 8?
맞아요. 정확히는 2018년 5월부터 방송을 시작하시면서 본격적으로 ASL을 좀 준비하시지 않았나 싶어요. 시즌 9, 그때 처음으로 예선을 통과를 하셨어요. 어떤 선수를 잡았는지 기억하세요?
일장이 형이 딱 의경 전역하기 딱 전이었는데
김지성 선수 입장에서는 굉장히 강한 저그라고 느껴질 만한 그때는 그러셨을 것 같아요.
제 게임 스타일을 잘 몰랐을 거예요, 그 당시에. 요새 많이 듣는 얘기처럼 좀 비호감 예전을 많이 썼거든요. 네. 당황을 해서 제가 이겼던 기억이 나요. 일장이 형한테 대회에서 항상 좀 이겼던 것 같아요. 저번에 첫 8강 갈 때도 이제 일장이 형이 이기고 올라갔었거든요.
예선은 통과했지만 시즌 9, 시즌 10 연달아 또 24강에서 최종전에서도 탈락을 하셨어요. 좌절을 할 수도 있었겠다라는 생각이 들거든요.
그냥 딱 24강 실력이구나 생각해서 그렇게 큰 좌절은 안 했던 것 같아요. 근데 투스한테 떨어졌던 것 같은데 고재욱 배우는 그때부터 현재 형이야.
김지성 선수가 시즌 10 때 제가 알기로는 소리에서 로열로 닉네임을 바꿨어요.
프로게이머 시절 때부터 아이디가 기운이 안 좋다고 막 좀 바꾸라고 그랬었거든요.
권유를 그 전에도
네.
받으셨었군요.
근데 그때는 이제 제 생각에는 아이디가 뭐가 중요해요. 아이디 바꾼다고 뭐가 달라질까 싶어가지고 그때는 좀 고집을 부렸죠. 안
네네.
바꾼다고. 근데 아프리카 와서 계속 뭔가 좀 안 풀리는 느낌이 드는 거예요. 이거 한번 바꿔보자 하고 진짜 큰 마음 먹고 한번 바꿔봤는데 생각보다 그때보다 좀 잘 풀렸던 것 같긴 해요.
맞아요. 이 아이디를 절치부심해서 딱 바꾸고 나서 그 다음 시즌인 시즌 11부터 김지성 선수의 포텐이 막 좀 터지기 시작했던 그 시즌이었던 것 같거든요. 시즌 11을 좀 복귀를 해보면 많은 분들이 여태까지의 김지성과는 좀 다르다라는 평가가 굉장히 많았습니다. 24강에서 2승을 거두고 저 1위로 16강에 진출을 하셨는데 그때를 좀 기억하실까요?
그때 솔직히 재호 형한테 좀 쫄아 있었거든요, 사실. 재호 형이 오히려 저한테 좀 쫄아 있더라고요, 게임을 하는데. 확실히 대회는 다르다 그때 한번 느껴가지고.
그렇게 시즌 11을 이제 16강에서 마무리를 하고 시즌 12를 맞이하는 최종전을 통해서 진출하셨죠? 4드론에 한 번 일격을 맞으셨던 걸로 제가 기억을 하는데요. 네.
오늘 상대였던 영환이 형, 제가 막을 수 있는 상황인데 제 실수로 그때 져가지고 좀 화도 많이 나고 그때 좀 멘탈이 좀 어지러지긴 했었거든요. 영환이 형 운영 가면 그때도 안 질 자신 있었거든요. 그렇게 이겼던 것 같아요.
그렇게 이제 16강에서도 좋은 경기력으로 생애 첫 8강에 진출하셨는데 8강에서 변현재 선수에게 이런 말씀을 드려도 될지 모르겠지만 아무것도 못하고 0대3 패배를 그때 그 뼈아픈 기억 지금도 몸에 새기고 계시잖아요.
그때부터 좀 자신감이 있었는데 너무 무기력하게 져가지고 진짜 나는 안 되는 건가 싶을 정도로 조금 좌절감이 있었던 것 같아요. 근데 그때랑 지금이랑 제가 좀 달라졌거든요. 그래서 한번 해보고 싶었는데
어떻게 보면 좀 뻔한 질문일 수도 있지만 선택권이 주어졌을 때 변현재 선수가 만약 16강에 또 한번 올라온다면 본인의 손으로 숙적을 정리할 수 있는 그 대진을, 그 조를 만드실 겁니까?
굳이? 피할 수 있다고 솔직히 피하고 싶긴 해요.
자, 그렇게 시즌 13으로 또 넘어갑니다. 이때는 죽음의 조였어요. 김지성 선수가 정윤종 선수도 있었고. 이때부터 좀 김지성의 토스전 물음표 아닌가 라는 이야기들도 조금 나오기 시작했거든요.
항상 대회만 가면은 운도 안 따라주고 예를 들면 뭐 변현재 선수가 파일럿 서치를 하면 원서치가 되고 땡렉을 박으면 대각이 되고 좀 억가가 좀 심했던 것 같아요.
김지성 선수가 이번 시즌 정말 24강 때부터 저그를 굉장히 많이 만나고 있습니다. 24강 한두열 선수부터 해서 16강 김성대 선수, 조일장 선수, 그리고 오늘 8강 이영환 선수까지 저그전 승률이 시간승 2자릿수 연승 기록을 이어가고 있어요.
혹시 ASL 최초인가요?
최초! 우와! 이거 일부러 약간 나한테 물어본 것 같지? 혹시 ASL 최초 알고 있었지?
알수 있죠.
이제 시즌 13까지는 사실 김지성 선수의 성장기였지 않았나 하는 생각이 들어요. 완성형 김지성을 만날 수 있는 시즌이 이번 시즌이 아닌가. 김지성 선수는 도전자의 입장이에요. 네, 그렇기 때문에 훨씬 더 좀 재기발랄한 뭐든 다 도전해볼 수 있을 만한 자리가 또 이런 자리지 않을까 싶거든요.
너무 잘하는 선수거든요. 제 개인적인 생각으로는 진짜 뭐 원투탑이라고 생각을 하는데 저도 지금 테란의 원투탑이라고 생각을 하거든요. 평소보다 더 열심히 준비하고 더 많이 생각하고 해서 정말 진검승부 펼쳐서 결승 가보겠습니다.
4강에서도 멋진 모습 기대하겠습니다.
잘해보겠습니다.
Welcome back, everybody. We had a little break, and our Tastosis had a little burger. A little bit of burger fuel in there. And he had a burger before the cast started. So that first burger he had before the ASL, that was like the barracks in the main. But the second burger, that's the one that he hit outside.
I tell you, man.
Yeah.
So, sometimes it's a good strat.
Yeah.
Like, as I finished it, I was like, I don't know if that was a good strat, actually. I think I'm going to have heartburn in a few minutes here. That maybe wasn't the right move. But you know what was the right move? That 2 barracks play from Royal. That was fancy. I like it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Again, Royal is a real planner, man. And again, even though that didn't work, he wins the game regardless. A win is a win. And he now has the lead here against Soulkey. But remember, guys, this is a best of 7. We've had ASLs before where, it's a best of 5 for this phase of the tournament. But, best of 7, this is going to be a long road ahead before we know who's going to come out on top.
That's right. Allegro is going to be a map that is very important for Soulkey to win here. If Royal were to take this, he's on match point. And, like, anything goes wrong for Soulkey at that point, he's going to be eliminated. So we're going to have to really see Soulkey pick up the pace a little bit and get that W.
Okay. Allegro it is, guys. Map 4 is ready to go as Royal versus Soulkey continues on in this best of 7. Again, the winner going on to the finals of Season 14 of the ASL.
So we have in the bottom right, Royal. And in the bottom left, we have Soulkey. Soulkey without any crazy cheeses as of yet.
Yeah. Again, Soulkey, I feel like his play is a little bit less tangible than what we're seeing from Royal. Royal's, it's very pronounced. He really has a series of very mapped out ideas he wants to execute. And Soulkey's play is a bit more amorphous, right? Like, he's more on the receiving end. He's not doing anything spectacular. He's just kind of, as we said before, barely holding off everything.
Yeah. I like that as well. It's kind of this funny thing in StarCraft where you'll look at something and be like, well, I want to smash this when it comes. And it's like, okay, well, if you smash something when it comes, you actually kind of over-defended against it, and your build wasn't super well optimized. Whereas if you just hold it, it's like, oh, okay, like, you actually got as many drones as you could there and then still held it. So, like, that's, in a lot of ways, that's much more impressive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. This has always been the theme of Zerg, right? And look, there are Zergs that rush and there are Zergs that are crazy. I mean, Soma has always been a fun player for me to cast because of, he'll really show what Zerg is capable of on the aggressive side. But a lot of, the theory behind how to play Zerg is basically just continuing to get further and further ahead until victory is out of reach for the Terran or the Protoss for that matter. And Soulkey's doing that beautifully so far in this series. In the game that he won, we really saw it there. But again, with Royal playing as well as he is, it seems like he's just barely eked out those 2 wins.
They were close. They were close.
Yeah.
There was definitely moments that were different. Like it felt like with Soulkey's, like, for instance, the counterattack that we saw, I thought that was a really great idea. But then, yeah, when you try to just kill him, it's like, oh, you're using all of your Larvonlings right now. It's not working. So, that can certainly go wrong there. I like the way that Royal is approaching a lot of this, though. He's making these positions that are so weird and difficult to play for his opponent. Like that weird pressure he did in the previous game with the 2 barracks. He, like, forces all these Sunkens and stuff, kills a couple drones, and then he just, like, expands and goes into, like, a very normal game from there. It's like, oh, damn, like, Soulkey has a lot of work to do to kind of make this even.
Right. So we're going to have a little bit of pressure here from these Marines. Now, this is not... what this does, basically, is it forces the Zerg to use a little bit more of what they have to try to defend. It's not intended to win the game. It basically strains the Zerg. You could see these drones would ideally be mining, right? And that's 3 workers that were, interrupted from mining where, the SCV and the Marines are still able to put on a little bit of pressure, but it's a very short-lived move because you have to run back to safety.
Yeah, that one Marine walking out literally just cost Soulkey like 32 minerals or something like that.
Yeah.
It's not a whole lot, but it is something. And those are the little things that a player of Royal's caliber is, he's trying to get every advantage available to him.
So we've got the... oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, this is actually a 3-hatch gas timing. So we see that it is going to be a +1 rush from Royal, which is by far the most common thing. Now, I want to see how Soulkey's going to handle this, because we saw Shine doing a lot of 3-racks play, or 3-hat play, and then it's been coming back a little bit in the pro scene, right? But, like, there's a wide variety of the ways that you can play the 3-hatchery that we've seen, right? Shine was kind of mixing it up and going back and forth. Like, we saw some lurker plays from him, if you recall, which is always going to be good against these +1 rushes. I personally think that if you get a very quick evolution chamber, go like a crazy Zerg type of style, that can be pretty good against these +1 rushes as well. But not sure exactly yet from Soulkey. This looks very standard so far.
Yeah. Excuse me, sorry. A little bit of a cough here. Yeah, I mean, we're going to be going into, I think, a very slow game to start things off. I don't think we're going to have any action at all until the Spire is done and Mutalisks have hatched. But, I think the way this will probably look might not be that different from, kind of the middle of that game on Vermeer. We're probably going to see the Zerg try to take the main in the top left. By the way, SCV coming in here as scout is a pretty big deal. He's going to get the confirm that this is a very normal opening here from Soulkey.
That is a huge scout. Like, seeing the drone counts, he knows there's not many lings on the map. He sees the Spire being made. Like, yeah, he got everything with that. Now he's adding 3 more racks, so we're going up to 4. I'd be surprised if he adds a 5th. I mean, he could, because he saw that it's a Spire and not a Hydralisk Den, so you can go into that very old-school 5 racks +1 play. But I think 4 is fine as well. Okay, he does add that 5th. So this is going to be very heavy Marine medic.
By the way, if you're trying to learn how to play Terran vs. Zerg, I would recommend the build that Royal's doing. It's
against 3 hatchery plays specifically.
Yeah, specifically.
It's really good against 3 hatchery Mutalisk Zerg.
Yeah. And by the way, it's not an easy build, especially the managing of the movement of the army. I think is one of the more challenging parts of this, but this is a solid way to play. Like, you could grind your way all the way up to S doing this.
Yeah. It's especially I think at lower levels, it's really good because the Mutalisk micro is normally outdone by just having a lot of +1 Marines and medics.
Right.
But basically, the idea behind this strategy is you field such a large bio army that you deny the 3rd base for Zerg. So you see Soulkey did send a drone towards the top left, and this is going to kind of be the tension in this game. It's going to be the Mutas running around and the Lings running around, trying to either slow the Marine army or reduce its count so that Soulkey can win a battle. And if he can do those things, then he's going to be in good shape. Otherwise, he's going to lose his 3rd, and Royal's going to be well ahead.
Okay, the Mutas are going to be driven back. They're very well-placed turrets, by the way. Really, any map that you're going to play on in this matchup, if you're Terran, you want to have your turret placement mapped out ahead of time if you're going to play at a very high level.
Yeah, that's for sure. If you're just putting down willy-nilly, they're not going to defend anything. Another turret going up, and like Soulkey has a lot of mutas right now. This is one of the things that happens with 3 hatches. You get up that Mutalisk count a lot faster, and yeah, like that's a full group, man. Like, you have to be super serious about defending this. He's doing a good job, but the Bioforce is getting large enough that I think we're going to see Royal threaten a counterattack now. Like, he's got, like, more than 2 groups of Marines here. He's got, like, 4 or 5 medics. So I think it's time for him to walk across the map, and that's going to make the Mutas run away and go deal with this Bio Ball.
Okay, so the infantry army's moving out. Now, this is a very critical moment here. We see the 3 Hydras going up to the north here. The idea is that he needs to get eggs, and then eventually lurkers, of course, to actually block the ramp. And when the Zerg gets the 3rd base up, most importantly, it's the 3rd gas. This is a very gas-intense matchup. And so right now, they can go either way, to be frank. I mean, sometimes Terrans are able to just sort of overpower the Zerg in the mid-game. Other times they're not, and we go into late game.
Well, that Bioforce is making its way towards the north here. I like how Soulkey has done this, Tasteless. Like, he sent the drone, but he didn't actually make the third for a really long time. He actually waited till he sent Hydras up. So, like, the third has no chance of dying. Like, he did it very, very, very safely. So, he's going to be able to get his third up. Yes, it's later than you would normally see it, but he has all this safety behind it. It's like, it doesn't feel like Soulkey can really die anywhere at the moment.
Okay, so he's...
I don't think he can take damage anywhere.
No, I think he's
so well
perfectly.
defended. Yeah.
It's impressive to see, man. At the same time, though, it doesn't seem like the mutas can really do that much. They're trying to see if they can find any kind of damage here. It would be handy to kill the gas, but you can see NSCV is repairing that. Keep in mind, the glaives bounce, so that damage does get transferred onto SCVs or turrets or wherever the glaives decide to go. By the way, is there a priority for where the glaives go?
No, I don't think so.
But I mean, there have to be, right? Because they all go to the same thing, or do they not?
No, I think they actually can spread. There's actually, I know that Zergs have various ways where they can make the shots spread.
I think if you hit hold position, the glaives spread.
Yeah, like everything attacks just kind of anything. So there's like not overkill and stuff, but yeah, I don't know about Mutalisk glaive bouncing. I know generally they bounce onto the thing I don't want them to.
Yeah.
It's like you saw, he was attacking the geyser, but actually the turret died. And it's like, what?
So funny. By the way, dropships are out. I see one. A lot of times we'll have two coming here. And we do have this technique that is occasionally used, which is you'll have like 4 dropships come out, and you'll try to just do a big drop and dump that into either the main or the third base. Both are acceptable. Although I don't think that's what Royal's going to... Or, I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't think that's what Royal's going to do here. I think he might try to go for an elevator technique where you kind of... you just ship with one drop ship the medics and marines up to the high ground. Well, he sees the drop
he
ship.
might bomb the ramp. I think he's going to bomb the ramp, maybe?
Yeah, he might carpet bomb the ramp. You're right. And basically this will cause the lurker spikes to spread out. But I think with good micro, the Zerg can also deal with this.
I think so. He's safe. I think he took too long. Oh, there's the additional dropships you were actually talking about. Yeah, he can't do this right now. Like, I see he has that idea. He has the multiple dropship and the carpet bombing idea, like, kind of put together here as opposed to a mass drop. But you know what? He drew the army up here. Oh, my God. He's trying to go to the main, but Soulkey is completely ready for him.
Yeah, it seems like he... Oh, my God. Devastating moment there. This drop isn't going to do anything, man. I don't even know if he's going to get any drones with this.
He's not going to really get anything. Yeah, everything is being killed off so quickly. Some of the bio does get up. You're right. He is going to go ahead and elevator here. A little stim in, but there are some defensive lurkers in that mineral line. More come over with some lings as well. So I think Soulkey will just be able to hold everywhere. And if you're making 3 dropships this early and not getting some significant damage, your vessel count has fallen so far below where it normally would be, it's going to be hard to continue to keep any pressure on.
Yeah, it's a big sacrifice to basically go for mass dropship in the mid-game because you don't have those vessels. And the vessels are really the key end-game unit for the Terran because that's how you get so much more value eked out. And we're seeing this elevator push. I feel like we don't see this at pro levels as often, and I think it's because good Zergers can just kind of shut it down. It takes a while to unload a dropship. Because, you can fit 8 units in it, so the whole process is kind of slow and taxing. He has switched into science vessels, and he is going to get that third base. There's no gas there. Terran does not demand as much gas as Zerg does in the matchup. So, it's looking pretty good right now for Soulkey. Not terrible for Royal, but I think we're just going to continue to see this game play out.
There's certainly still some play in Royal's position. Like, he's got some good macro going. Looks like he's going to take his 4th base, which is, like, really well-timed. Like, this is exactly when you want it, in theory, is, like, right after you take your 3rd. The Muta's going to slow that down a little bit, so Soulkey's still staying pretty active on the map and getting some things done. But this is going to be the real big problem, right? Like, he's going to have 2 Irradiates, but there's already a Darkstorm with 3 Lurkers under it. Now, this is the problem when you go dropship so early. It's just his vessel count is much lower. Now he's lost one over here, another one being used to reduce his Mutalisk count. But realistically, that 4th base cannot be stopped. He simply doesn't have enough spells to do it.
Yeah, and this is where Terran runs into a wall here. You know, you have this army and you want to fight, but the Zerg's not going to engage with you. The Zerg's going to stay back and start to power up. And Dark Swarm really, puts an exclamation point on that. It looks like Terran's going to try to come up to that 4th. I didn't actually see what's at the 4th, but I don't think it can be opened up.
No,
well,
probably not.
Yeah,
another Dark Storm going down. Like, even just the Lings can hold. We don't have any Fire Bats here or anything. You're irradiating, right? The Defiler, the Lurkers, all these things. And look, a beautiful Plague goes down as well.
Really good Plague there. And this is how the Zerg wants to play. And this is a funny thing in this matchup, that there's nothing else quite like it in StarCraft 1, but this weird spell phase of the matchup where the Zerg is covering himself with Dark Swarm and then also chucking Plagues out to whittle down the energy on the medics, and if he takes a fight, he'll probably win it. But at the same time, the Terran is flying around with these vessels and trying to irradiate units of value like Lurkers, like especially Defilers, but also if you have an opportunity to catch the mutas, you do that as well. And the 2 Lurkers are going to fall.
Gonna reduce that. Yeah, they're going to fall, but like, look, he has Double Nidus here. Like, he's just popping more units out. He brings down Ultras now with those Defilers. He's got the 4 gas going. Dude, Soulkey is he is about to run away with this game, I think. Like, Royal still has a little shot. I'm a little bit nervous, though, because he's gone up to 4 dropships. And the dropships become a lot weaker at this phase in the game. Like, when Ultras start coming out, dropship play doesn't do much anymore, because you really need critical masses of bio to start taking out these little Zerg forces.
Nice Plague there on those Marines. Again, another great one. Getting pretty ambitious on the map. Another big set of dropships coming up here. It does look like it's going to get spotted. And, I mean, there's Scourge to catch this. Oh, he's going to have to unload.
Yeah, he's not getting anything done. And, again, this is, like, basically 4 less vessels because he's got these dropships now. His Bioforce is so small. We have Plague out here. It's a 4-gas Soulkey. The only thing really going for Royal is that he has 4 bases, so he can macro, like, really heavily. And he can, this position that we're seeing, we see this occur where it's like, this will look like Royal's kind of fighting against him, but really this is almost inevitable for Soulkey at this point.
Yeah.
Royal, like, he has to mass all these units. The thing is, he has to break a base if he wants to win this, and it just doesn't look possible.
Yeah, especially on maps where there's 4 starting locations, it's really tricky for the Terran once the Zerg gets the 4 bases up from the main base, then down into the natural of the other starting location. With 4 gases, you could afford to get a lot of Ultralisks here, and that's really where the whole dynamic of the fights kind of changes. Because, as you can see here, like this Ultralisk, it just has so many more hit points and kills Marines faster than medics can heal them. That combined with the sheer damage output of the Zerglings with the Adrenal upgrade, then you can see even here with the Radiate, I mean, this also damages the Marines. It's hard to deal with, and suddenly this Terran army that basically couldn't be engaged with for most of the game, it starts to get pushed back. And at this moment, it is really now the Zerg's turn to try to end the Terran.
Yeah, now that the map control is going a little bit more even, right? Like, Soulkey's actually out on the map. The scariest thing to have show up at a base is a Defiler. Just Defiler and whatever. Like, you basically, it's going to make you lift the base, at least for some period of time. So that's what Soulkey's trying to get down here and do. Continues to cast those spells, like a beautiful Plague and everything. Not going to make it that time, but here you go. There is the Dark Swarm with some Ultras at this 4th base location, which means it just has to be lifted. You can't contend with that right now.
Yeah, this is rough, too, because that's the 3rd gas for the Terran. Keep in mind, you know, the minerals in the main and the natural should be very close to being mined out if they're not already. And this is like, what, a 7-mineral patch base? The one that we just had on camera a second ago, south of the screenshot. So that's not a lot of income, man.
No, his economy's drying up. Soulkey is actually maxing out, which is a max out Zerg is the scariest thing in the game. So
yeah, literally.
We could see GG very soon here from Royal. You know, his ideas just did not really work out this game. GG, very well played from Soulkey. Really dominates that 4th game.
I really enjoyed that. Great series. You know, a very, how do I say this? A very straight-up game from both sides. A very traditional TVZ. And Soulkey showed us, you know, why he's a threat. He just sort of played out a standard textbook game against a very strong and standard opener here from Royal. And ultimately, Royal was really never able to gain any ground there. And I think it really went south, especially when the dropships started getting denied in the mid-game. That's a little bit of a big investment, and if it doesn't pay off, the Zerg is pretty free to kind of expand and tech up, and, the Ultralisks are usually the final piece of the puzzle to then come through and crush.
It's really so true. The dropships have to do something. You're using that starport build time. You're using, each dropship represents 10 supply.
Right.
That's not free, man. Like, those Marines and medics in those dropships are important. The dropships themselves are important. And when it's just all getting parried and you're not doing any damage with it, like, you invested a lot, got nothing, and that just makes Soulkey safer and safer and safer.
Okay. Coming forward here, it's hard to know who is going to actually come out on top. This is such a close series, 2-2, such a back and forth. And by the way, pretty dramatic games all the way through. Odyssey is where we're going to go here for map 5, so we're already, more than halfway through the games that they have. But again, I think nobody can call who's going to take this as you watch these games develop.
Definitely not. It's so back and forth so far. But here we go into Game 5. Someone's going to take that 3-2 advantage. Will it be Royal? Will it be Soulkey? We're going to find out. In the bottom left, our Terran player, it is a Royal. And in the top right, our Zerg, it's Soulkey.
Soulkey with a jacket just propped up on the back of the chair.
Cape style.
Cape style, yeah. I always find it funny because, we have a green room. It's always funny to me to see who, actually just leaves their stuff in the green room. Or the waiting room, if you want to call it that, if you don't know the technical term. But, and then the players that will, come in and prop their winter jackets, on the back of the chair, or you see their backpack hanging off, so...
yeah, I guess that when it is, the winter jacket, it's, a bit much. I have seen pros occasionally play in a winter jacket, but that seems insane to me. Your arms would be so stifled,
Oh, I don't know how people do it. I feel like I'd be going crazy here. By the way, I guess he can fit a barracks back here in this little corner.
I think he's going to eBay block.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think you might be right about that.
Huh. Okay, well, he goes up into the main. What am I looking at, Tasteless?
Yeah, what is this?
My God.
Wait a
Royal
minute.
really brings out crazy strats. Oh, my God. He's making a barracks in the main base of Soulkey?
I think so. What?
I don't know, man.
Well, we're going to see in a second. The first barrack starts over there in the main. Royal's main, And he's going to
Oh, my God. He's going to make a factory. Tastosis, he's going to make a factory in his base. That's crazy.
What? Okay, so, that makes more sense now.
Yeah, you never see things like a barracks in a Zerg base. It just doesn't really make sense. One Marine at a time doesn't do anything. The drones can go up and kill it. It looks so weird. He sent that so early, but it clearly looks like he wants to just kind of plop a factory down and get what is going to basically be a free win if it works.
Yeah, it's funny. When you get to certain levels of play, people basically stop doing stuff like what Royal's going to do because if it's spotted, you lose.
Yeah.
But it's kind of brilliant in a best of 5 or a best of 7 to do something like this. And look at this. He makes the factory, and then he has this other SCV that basically comes in here like, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because I want to expand soon. I just want to make sure. Are you cheesing me? Okay. This is crazy. And, I think this is just going to work. I think this is just...
I think so.
Yeah, I think he's just going to kill him.
Well, he should end up getting a sunken at the natural, right? Like, that's going to be a very normal thing to do against a Terran that's not expanding. Tasteless. Oh, man, he's just...
Wait, what is happening with this Ling?
I don't know, man.
Okay, it's... Wait. Oh my God! He sees it, but the SCV finished the factory. Oh my God!
I think he just throws down sunks. Like, he could bring some drones and try to do a surround.
Yeah, that's
on the Vulture.
You know that the Vulture's going to spawn in the bottom left, but the Terran has an ace up his sleeve here by lifting. Yeah, here we go. Oh my God! It
just slips by.
Oh, and he didn't get under the factory either. Oh, but he gets the body block.
That is so huge right there. Hydralisk Den on the way here.
Okay, now he has enough
drones.
drones.
This is looking great for Soulkey.
He's going to make the cage again, and he's got to be ready to juke up, too. I think he should even send those drones back. It's much more important to just deny the Vulture. Okay, I think he has the right surface area.
Yes. And in fact, he did it in such a way that even when you lift, you can't get out. He made a full cage. That was, like, he is thinking on his feet. He is doing it so quickly. And that failed. That straight up failed.
Yeah. I'll tell you though, man. You know, had he not sent that Zergling there, I don't think that. You know.
Oh, I think he would have lost.
I think he would have died. I mean, he basically saw it and just had enough. Literally, the build time it takes to make one Vulture to figure out how to deal with that. And honestly, like, really smart moves on both sides. Again, these guys are making for such good games.
It's wild to see all the different things that have actually been prepared in this matchup by Royal. The fact that Soulkey is having a hard time figuring out what the hell is going on and then blocking it shows, because he has been such a strong reactive Zerg over the years. Now, the Hydra hitting this factory as it tries to float away, Royal did expand down his back ramp. I think that was a very smart move. That way he's not really going to die while he tries to recover his position. But what do you do with this position from here?
Well, I mean, I guess, you know, it's important to remember, you know, the factory is going to take a long time to get back home. You know, StarCraft 2, the buildings actually fly really, really fast. StarCraft 1, they are... Oh, wait, did he just kill it?
He killed an Overlord.
No, on the minimap.
Yeah, the factory died.
Factory died,
right.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like he made a few more
Hydras.
Hydras.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
For some reason, I didn't remember the Hydras being there. I was like, how did he do that? How did he do that? So he, the factory gets shut down, so that'll have to be remade. But, you know, the factory itself isn't the most important building in this phase of the game. Really, it's like you need to have your academy up, your barracks are back at home, you're making Marines, you've got an engineering bay to upgrade that. I think he's okay.
He's still in it. I don't like the position. It feels so unnatural because, like, he has to remake the factory. His expansion is not that fast.
Well, also that expansion in the back, that's hard to protect. You can't get Marines back there. Like, what if the Muta harass is good enough, and, you know, if the turrets fall, you're just going to lose the base and probably lose the game.
That's a very accurate take there on that. You know, maybe. Yeah, no, you would never go for a dropship to try to get Marines down there or anything as well. So, yeah, I guess just what you see is what you get as far as the turrets go.
So, Mutas are going to come out again. Not again. It's like the first time they're out in this game, but it's been like this throughout the series, right? Lots of Muta tech here, as Soulkey wants to play a very solid game. And I am very worried about this position here at 6 o'clock. Again, you can't get Marines in this spot. You can't protect it. So, you know, it's a problem.
I think he just has to be very much on top of adding turrets on. But that becomes a bit problematic as well. Like, if you're just adding so many turrets there, normally you want to be able to run up with your Marines to kind of help support it. And then if you actually build enough and Soulkey realizes that, you just won't attack it.
So, you know, he's going to have to just have that thing flush with turrets to keep that safe. You know, you were talking about this earlier, Tastosis, but yeah, this is a kind of uncomfortable spot here for Royal. That being said, if he can kind of power through, you know, the next several minutes of the game and try to get his third base up, which is right at the natural. And look, the harder base to keep is the one he already has. If he can keep that and get a third up, I think we can see this go into late game.
The Muta's flying down now. I think Soulkey will occasionally come in and see if he can bust the turrets, because like you said, you bust the turrets, there's literally no saving it. There's just no way. So he gets rid of one, going after another one. Soulkey is... I mean, I like the approach, but it seems like there's just enough missile turrets that Soulkey does not want to fully commit yet.
And he's going to send his Marines up here. I see 4 sunken colonies, and there's a 5th one that's not... that's going to be out pretty soon. The Zerg is not supply blocked, so he can make lurkers in this moment. But, when the next set of Marines, when the reinforcements merge up here, this is going to be scary, dude. Can he just crack him open?
If the Mutas were here, absolutely not. But maybe, like, 5 sunks is a lot of sunken colonies. That's a great spread from Royal, though. As he pushes forward, the drones feeling like they have to come out. The Mutas making their way home right now to try to help as well. And when the Mutas get here, he should just hold it.
Yeah. Kind of a funny moment there. All that hard work for the Terran, but ultimately the army's wiped out. This will make Zerg a little bit more vulnerable at the entrance, but, those sunken colonies could be remade. Of course, it is sacrificing a drone. That is one of the problems for Zerg, is sometimes, you see them remake all these buildings and you think, oh, I didn't do anything. But in reality, they have to, shave off one worker every time if they're going to keep sunks there. But Soulkey is not doing that. He did not remake the sunks. He's feeling comfortable. And instead, he's sent the Mutas back down here. He's confirmed the 3rd base has not been taken. And he's looking for a fight, trying to see whatever he can take.
Yeah, picking off anything at this point, definitely very, very worthwhile for him. Flying in there a bit, taking actually quite a bit of damage. Meanwhile, 6 turrets in that back base. I think that's the right number right now, where it's like, if Soulkey, if he dives on that, he's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I gotta say, Royal's still kind of okay. Again, it's a rough game for him, and I think, you're looking at Soulkey try to find some kind of a weakness. He'll find these depots out here. And try to draw some of these Marines forward. Kind of funny to see those Mutas run from 3 Marines, but there was more behind it. And I also want to mention, well, actually, Tastosis, I'll just ask you, is there any value in just running lurkers down to the bottom of his ramp and just trying to contain him?
Oh, you mean like right in his natural?
Yeah.
If he was going 2-port vessel, maybe, but he is actually going 1 port, 1 factory. So he has the siege tanks, which would be like exactly what you want in this position to push down against something like that. So like, yeah, it kind of matters. Like siege tanks countered things like that pretty well, and then like if it's only bio, something like that could be really strong. Oh god.
Oh no.
Oh, he gets that burrow off. Oh, this is not going that well for Soulkey.
I will tell you, this angle is actually pretty good for him, considering he has a small army, because that rest of that was still on the ramp, which makes it technically the low ground.
Yeah.
These Mutas are going to snipe the tank.
Wow.
Damn, dude.
What a pickoff there. So painful to lose one of your first tanks when it's really what you've been gearing up for. He's been gearing up for this push. And, 3 siege tanks are so much better than 2. 3 will one-shot a lurker. They just power down Sunkens really fast. But, he's going to have to just try to retain the other 2 here.
Yeah, and you can see Soulkey's pretty crafty with this. He'll try to set up a fight the moment he thinks it's not going to work out. Now, he's going to go for a counterattack here. And this could be deadly here for Royal, but this can also backfire because there's really not a lot here. Remember, those sunken colonies were not remade. He's going to go for Guardians. He only has 5 Mutalisks, though, and Guardians don't make that fast. The push is already here.
Yeah. If the Greater Spire was already done, easy hold here, easy life. The 1 starport science vessels, especially when you're like getting them picked off occasionally, not going to be able to deal with like 5-6 Guardians very well. But he's breaking through so quickly. I don't know that Guardians are actually going to come into play.
Oh my god, he's got a little ambush set up over here so he can't reinforce. So what Soulkey wants to do is basically buy enough time to take this out. The Mutas are going to come onto the tanks, and it looks like they do get 1.
All right, backing up. He's trying desperately to stay alive. A little flank is coming in. Can Soulkey actually clear this? Such an important moment in this game. And he does end up getting the tank, and these Marines are not going to be enough alone.
Yeah, the vessel comes in here, nice irradiate. Again, no Guardians were actually made in this game. The push is not done, though. Another tank comes up. And again, such a close fight here. Very hard to say who's going to take this.
Yeah, it's starting to feel pretty good, I think, for Royal. He's really reducing the size of everything that Soulkey's doing. I would imagine the Greater Spire's done. Yeah, maybe it's time to try to pop a few of those out, because that would help a lot.
Okay, he's staying down here. And again, I mean, it's the same story as before. You know, there's a small amount of units trafficked up here. Keep in mind, Soulkey does not have this extra base, like a third base here. He's kind of really trying to make this work. He does irradiate one of the Guardians. And this is kind of a funny position. I had imagined the Guardians being made in the main, but instead he's kind of setting this up so that they can gun down stuff coming across this bridge.
Yeah, maybe cut off those reinforcements a little bit. Royal continues to micro so well here. The Hydra's not going to be able to get too much done, but there's enough mules here to maybe still clear it.
Hold up, man. I think Royal just won this game.
You might be right.
Oh,
it seems like Soulkey is just about broken.
Yeah, you saw him just shake his head there. I think it's just registered with him. There's no stopping this push. Keep in mind the Spire here and the hatchery and access to the main. The Zerg needs to try to recover here. He's trying to go for these snipes. The control here is beautiful. The irradiate is great. And this means that it's going to be Royal now taking the lead here.
Yeah. Well, that's... I guess the story of it, right? He was up 2-1, now he's up 3-2. Soulkey has been able to fight back, but Royal with that advantage. If he wins one more map, he's going to his first ASL Finals.
Crazy, man. I'll tell you, this was not one of the guys I was thinking was going to go all the way when I looked at the full lineup of players.
No, me either.
But dude, talk about classic StarCraft, dramatic. Terran trying to push, the Zerg trying to drive it back, but over time, Terran just manages to overcome the Zerg. You know, this is when I really fell in love with the game. Because when it first came out, I really liked playing Terran, but just trying to push in and make tanks and bunkers and get my Marines over there and try to close it on the base, it was such a thrill. And we're seeing it here, man. He's now up 3-2. Now, he's won the best of 5, but he needs to win the best of 7. Can he do that?
Well, I think Soulkey is so good at fighting back that I don't know that it's gonna be an easy finish here for Royal. I almost feel like I'm like, wow, this is like what Royal has been practicing for forever. Maybe here you do something crazy like just BBS, right? Like 2 barracks in the center of the map in the next one and just try to pick up a quick victory to the finals.
And, you know, we talked about this push here, but let's remember that original push that killed all the Sunken colonies. Had he not killed that, it would have been a lot more to try to hack and saw his way through. And honestly, Soulkey created a lot of opportunities for himself here. I mean, he had the Guardians on the other side of the map. He had Lurkers coming from behind. He was sniping with the Mutas, but it was just Royal kind of powering through all of it. And ultimately, there was just nothing to stand in between the hatchery and those tanks and Marines.
Yeah. It's funny. Like, I gotta say, Royal is really good at recovering from some of these builds. Like, don't forget, this started with a factory in the main base that didn't really do anything. Soulkey blocked it really beautifully, didn't really lose drones or anything like that. And then Royal just comes right back. Very solid play, very strong pushes. I don't know how he gets them out so fast after such a wonky opener.
Okay, so we've got... yeah, I mean, you look at the Guardians morphing. Again, it was just this kind of streamlined push that came up here. By the way, the Guardians kind of surprised me. Is that normal, Artosis? I feel like we don't see Guardians almost ever.
Well, people are trying to use Guardians sometimes against these 1 starport, 1 factory timing pushes.
Oh, okay.
Just because you only have like 1 to 2 irradiates, and you probably already used them on like Mutas. So if you can actually pop out 5-6 Guardians, it really can demolish the siege tank pushes. Like Guardian Lurker together it works really well because you can't run under them to kill them.
All right, well, guys, that is going to be that game. But again, we're not out of the woods yet. The best of 7 is going to continue on here.
All right. I don't know which way that this is going to go. I believe Sylphid is going to be our next map, so that's a great map to go on to. A little bit smaller but I believe we're going to go to a quick commercial break before that. So Soulkey going to have some time to collect himself, figure out exactly what it is that he wants to do to keep himself in contention for this finals.
Yeah, guys, we're going to go to that break right now, and we'll be back in a couple minutes, so sit tight. We'll see you soon.
달달한 충전이 필요할 땐 칸타타
상큼함 맥스 칼로리 X 맛있는 탐스 제로 요즘 제일 탐나는 제로 탐스 제로 같이 떠나볼래?
Welcome back, everybody. Back into this best of 7 we go. Oh, look at that. Chocolate milk?
Yeah, that's a common one. Like I know a lot of like chess players and stuff drink that during games.
Yeah, this has been. We're being serious, by the way, guys. I know we joke around, but there's a lot of experimentation. I can't remember if we mentioned this in GSL or ASL, but people taking dark chocolate or some kind of chocolate because it gives you like a little bit of a pick me up. You don't crash. It's not like if you had like the same kind of pick me up you get from, I guess, like a can of Coke. I've actually never messed with chocolate. I'm making this sound like it's a drug.
Yeah, no,
I've never done chocolate, man. I'm too scared I'd freak out.
Yeah, yeah. No, I've tried it out a little bit, stuff like that. I actually found over time in tournaments and stuff, I liked bringing bananas specifically. Like that was something that I really liked bringing to events.
Is that so you could slip on the peels in TVP, Artosis?
Yeah, there's enough of those in the game for me already anyways, Tasteless. But yeah, I mean these are like important things that we see that these guys do. You know, some people, it's like I know a lot of the players like to drink Pocari Sweats, which is basically Korean Gatorade.
Yeah,
you know, that type of thing.
Basically, it's like a hydrating drink, basically.
Yeah, one of those. Okay, so here we are. Royal might be able to go to his first Star League Finals if he can win one of these next two maps. Soulkey, of course, not done yet. He's been putting up a great fight. It seems like a very even match. It really does.
Oh, it couldn't be closer, man. I mean, this is almost like the dream finals is what we're having right now with these two guys. Like, this has been so epic. Every game, such a treat to cast. And we're ready to do this, guys. Sylphid will be our map. I think it's one of the best modern StarCraft maps that's out there. Should be an interesting game. Remember, Royal is 1 win away from taking this whole thing. Soulkey needs to come back in this game and the next one.
It's up. in the bottom right, I guess, is a Royal, and then up at 12 o'clock is Soulkey. One thing I want to mention, I've been thinking what Soulkey should do here, and I feel like he's going to pool first, like maybe an overpool or something like that. 12 pool, perhaps?
Maybe.
Yeah, because he has to win this game. He simply must. So I don't know. My brain is telling me that he should do that. I don't know what your thought process on that is, but just something like an 8 racks could make things go so wrong, and it feels like that would be like a really smart opener for Royal.
Here's the scary thing. Let's not forget Soulkey won game 1, and he's been, for the most part, very consistent with what he's doing, right? He's playing very standard reactive Zerg style and basically trying to just stay out of reach of the Terran until it's too late, and either the Terran is overextended and is killed in the middle of the map, or the Terran, the Zerg gets into Ultralisks, and it's all downhill from there. It's kind of scary that he's now down a game, right? He started out with a lead here. And statistically, by the way, if you win the first game in a best of 5 or a best of 7, you're there's a higher probability that player wins the series.
Oh yes, it's huge. It's actually a huge difference.
Yeah, but Royal has come in here with so many crafty plays, and honestly, if I was a Zerg, I'd be very intimidated. He's really capable of trying anything. It's actually easy to forget in that last game because the end was so dramatic. What are we watching here? It's easy because the end is so dramatic to forget that last game started with a factory inside the main.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
It really is.
So, yeah, it's... I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm kind of all over the place with what I'm saying here, but what I'm really trying to get at is Royal is really scary, and it's looking tough here for Soulkey because Royal is capable of doing something completely insane like that factory in the main, or he can play, a very standard game and kind of just push and win. He really has quite a range.
And that's tough to play against for a Zerg player, So much of the early Zerg game is about, maintaining your drones and really optimizing your build. And sometimes that's gone wrong. But right now, Soulkey actually did go hatch first, so I guess I had a wrong idea there. He decides that he's going to just play pretty standard. It was a very quick pool follow-up, so, there was a little bit of hedging there against possible barracks rushes. And on Royal's side, just expanding. He does make a little wall at the natural. I really like that wall. This Sylphid 3 is it's got those rocks on the side and everything, and it's a pretty wide open natural for TVZ. It can be a little bit hard to block Zerglings, so I really like the SimCity he's chosen.
Looks like this SCV is going to be biting the dust here. It's so important that, when you got the SCV in the base, you really can't let it get touched. Much more forgiving for the Zerg or the Protoss because the Protoss has the shields and the Zerg does regen over time. 4 Marines are coming out. Now this shouldn't be much or to have much of an impact on the game. It's basically to try to chase some drones away.
Yeah, I think he'll turn around as well. There is actually an Overlord sitting in a beautiful location that can watch anything leaving his base. So there's not much chance for him to walk out and do a little pressure with those Marines. Now, one thing to mention about Soulkey here, this is a 3-hatchery build with the 3 hatcheries at 3 different bases. So it's like the game we saw in Nemesis, except now there are multiple locations that he's going to have to defend if Royal goes for an Academy rush here.
And Royal does like to do that, by the way.
Yeah.
He's got a reputation for that. So, this is a game where the third hatch, the third base, was taken very, very early. I don't think Terran knows about that, right?
I don't think he knows the location, but he knows it's somewhere.
Yeah.
When his SCV was in there, he saw the gas timing.
Yeah.
And the gas timing was too late. So you can see his SCV is actually running around looking for it right now.
The problem is
he knows there's a hatchery somewhere on the map.
Yeah. Now, there's basically only a few places that it could realistically be at. The other main... or one of the 3 high ground locations. And in this case, he took the one that's to the left and down of his main. But, if the Terran can't find that, it really is kind of like this funny game of trying to figure out, okay, where do they put it? Because, certain positions can be attacked in certain ways and others are much harder. And by the way, one of the reasons why those are the locations. Everything else is pushable or doesn't have a gas. Zerg does not want a third base that doesn't have a gas in this matchup.
Oh, that's for sure. They don't need the minerals. It's like, what, you're going to make more Zerglings? Who cares?
Well,
and also, fire bats.
And also, like, if it's on low ground and it can be attacked, it's not a good location to take. You want a bottleneck kind of position that can be fortified and held.
Yeah. Now, there's a fair amount of speedlings out in the map. Just to throw that out there. It seems like there might be ideas here from Soulkey to either surround this army that's trying to come out. It's kind of a common thing. When you do the 3 hatches at 3 different bases, you can either make Sunkens, or you can threaten a counterattack, or you can like go for a mass ling surround on the Bioforce that comes out. These are kind of your options to try to keep your 3 bases safe.
So the Bio Army is up here. The Lings, he's trying to maybe bait out a stem or see if there's a stray Marine he could maybe get in there and kill off. With the Spire finishing, and there's almost 700 gas, so Mutalisks are going to be in the game for a little bit here. I love this attack in with these Lings. This is such a good move. You know, you'd think Fire Bats would be better against Lings. They're okay, only if they're angled correctly. And they're only slightly tankier than the Marines. It's kind of a, you know, when the game comes out, like in your head, you think, oh, okay, a Fire Bat, well, that's where I'm going to use to fight the ground army. But in some ways, they're not that much better than Marines.
Yeah, for sure. It really is about the angling and everything. They die very quickly when surrounded. So the Lings, that was like a very good small counterattack. It kind of slows everything down. In the meantime, Soulkey does have Sunkens at all of his bases. He has the Queen Nest starting. He might go for like a Guardian Rush here. Like that is a possibility.
Yeah. I mean, I think that could be acceptable as well. And also easy to defend that high ground area there. Funny we would see Guardians again here. Is the Terran going for a factory? I'm sorry, of course they're going to have a factory. I mean, like tanks from a factory?
We don't know yet. Like, I honestly am not sure what he's going to do. I think in this particular game, double starport is going to be a lot stronger. But he seems to tend towards that one factory siege tank right now. He's had a lot of success with it. But right now, Soulkey sees this giant bio army starting to move out. So he needs to slow this down a bit.
And one Muta gets gunned down there by the Marines. Counterattack coming in here. Now, keep in mind, if these Lings kill the turret, I mean, it's going to be pretty rough here because these Mutas can then come in and do more damage. But see, this is Soulkey doing just a masterful job of buying time. What Royal wants to do is just walk across the map and try to do damage, but every time these Lings come back in there, it can kind of pull the Terran back.
Yeah, he's doing such a great job just kind of annoying him, keeping him back in his base. And by the way, it is a double starport build. So the next thing is, like, is he going to go vessels or do we have an armory making? Because honestly, if he has an armory making, I really like his position here. Like, he can push those mutas back super, super hard. And we still don't actually know if he's going to go Lurker or he's going to go Guardian here.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, as long as he's active with the mutas, Guardians are not an option. By the way, if you're playing Terran and you're like, and you can't figure out where the Spire is, or you can't, tell, are they going Guardians yet or not? It's when the mutas disappear. When the mutas are not in your face, that's when you go, uh-oh, Guardians are coming, because there's really no moment that you don't want to be active on the map with the mutas.
Mm-hmm. Now, the Defiler Mound is on the way. Lurker's morphing as well, so it looks like he's still not going to be broken. Did I see him making a Greater Spire as well? Yeah, look at that.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay, so this type of play, like, again, the Irradiates take a while. If you have 2 Irradiates and your opponent makes all these Guardians, like, first off, you're not breaking anything, but also, this could be great harassment against Terran. You can put him behind the mineral line.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, there's sometimes opportunities to pair them up with your ground army and actually do a push. Because, again, like, the Irradiates are just going to be short in number. Normally, if they go for Guardians, you do want to have a couple Valkyries out to really punish that, and that's not something that Royal's going to have here.
So he's got that factory over there landed. And Terran's really, going to be powered up and looking for a fight here. Now, he hasn't morphed any Guardians yet. But it is an option. It is available. It does seem like the third and the second base are both pretty safe right now. I don't see any dropships coming out yet, but you could try to drop the main. That is a possibility.
Yeah, like, you know, this is all pretty close together, though, so I feel like right now Royal's best opportunity is to just continually produce science vessels, roam around a little bit, and try to start getting that irradiate value. I think that's really, like, an important part of this game, because Soulkey's economy is really getting good. Like, he's had this third base for a long time, and he's going to do something big when these macro hatches finish.
So the push is going to come up now. Defilers are out. I mean, it's kind of funny. You know, we haven't seen much of a dent made here. Soulkey has really, bought his time pretty well. Royal is going to take this third base down here. We should point out also as well, there's no free fourth base for the Zerg, which could become an issue. Unlike on Allegro, where you could just go down from the main base that you took earlier and just put lurkers there. There's actually no super accessible fourth base on this map.
It's very, very true. So, like, the third base, again, very easy to hold. But to take that fourth base, this is a very common play. I think Eclipse helped Zergs really learn how to play like what Soulkey's doing now. This is basically like an Eclipse build that we're seeing, where he's making all these macro hatches in his main base, and then he's going to produce a lot of Ling, Lurker, Defiler, and then he'll come out and get the fourth base.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it's been a quiet game, to be honest.
It has, yeah.
The mutas are going to come down here now, and they're going to get completely pushed back. Is that a turret over at the bottom left spawn? Is that what that is?
Oh, it might be. I don't... Like, that would be funny if it's a turret. It might just be, like, 2 units, like an SCV and a Marine or something.
Oh, okay. I was wondering if there was some reason, like, because it's mostly mutas roaming the map, you want to make a turret there? Or...
Oh, that would be cute. Yeah, like, occasionally you'll see Terran probably, like, make a depot or something there just to slow down the drone that gets sent later on, something like that, but... yeah, not entirely sure what that is.
Well,
now,
one spot you can't let them take is that other main, because then it's a real headache to try to get in there. Terran double expanding now while keeping the Zerg pretty controlled here.
A little snipe on that Defiler. Nicely done, but a play comes out, and it looks like this might actually end up being Hydra Lurker Defiler. We'll see if you, like, that's enough Hydras that I think that's what it's going to be. And how will Royal want to play against this? Is he just going to play it like fast and furious with Marine Medic Science Vessel and get some dropships? Or will we see that switch into siege tanks?
Yeah, that's going to be the big question. 2 tanks out so far, so it's going to be a tank game here. And I almost...
Yeah, he should add another factory Tasteless. Like, I think that's really important.
I agree.
If you're going siege tank at this point, you can't do it off one.
And I really think the big play here for Royal is to basically almost not do anything other than make sure the Zerg doesn't get another base like this one. But, like, other than that, I think you know, we've talked about this before, and, like, how I deal with sometimes when, like, Zerg gets, like, one of those, you know, top, bottom, left, right bases on Fighting Spirit, where it's like, well, now they just have that forever. Like, I can't get in there if they've turtled up well enough. I think that's what he wants to do with the third base and the natural. This base, though, is actually very easy to push for Terran. You can hit it from this side. You can hit it from below with tanks. So this is something that I think, you know, Royal wants to try to come in here and deny. And I think basically the play is to sit on 3 bases and sort of make the Zerg figure it out. You sit on Terran's on 4 bases, Zerg's on 3 bases, and you just kind of wait it out and go, all right, what are you going to do about it, man?
Yeah, the thing is that Soulkey is getting this 4th base, right? And, like, he's got a good economy, he's got a lot of drones, and, like, we're going to see him eventually start pushing out with mass Dark Storms. He's getting some great plagues going for sure. And Royal's, like, he's getting ready for this. We saw the Academy blinking, so he's either getting Restoration or Medic Energy right now to help out against these plagues.
Okay, nice irradiates there. Just backs up. Doesn't want to overcommit here. And we've got 1 dropship. He might try to use this to throw the Zerg out of into a weirder position here. Zerg's going to try to come out now, as Soulkey is realizing he's not going to, you know, Terran doesn't want to play ball, so Soulkey has to try to bring it to him.
Look at that, just really trying to hunt. He wanted that vessel so badly. But here comes a push here with Lurkers. I think both of them not really seeing what's going on all that much. Looks like this in the center will be cleaned up by Royal. But he does lose that group of units to the Lurkers, attacking towards his 4th.
Okay, scan here. Lurkers are actually going to end up coming up here and getting these SCVs. This is pretty big. Smart move to lift off. Meanwhile, dropped, I think, just in the back of this third.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God.
It's actually too many fire bats, Tastosis.
Yeah.
Marines would be better here because they're buying the minerals.
Yeah.
The fire bats just walk in the front
can't
and
do
die.
anything.
No. Oops. But you know what? Those lurkers ran up there and killed so many SCVs. He had 3, so he was one-shotting the SCVs at that point.
Yeah.
Really annoying for Royal. So he has lost a lot of workers here, losing some mining time. He will clear this out, but I don't know that he has, like, too much push potential. He does have the second factory. I've seen 4 or 5 tanks that are on the map. Maybe he can take the center and push towards that 4th base.
Okay, so, I mean, basically Terran's recovered. Problem is Zerg is on that 4th gas right now. Oh, hold on a second. Is there, like, not really anything to defend over at the top? The Zerg's 4th base?
Top. Oh,
I see
yeah,
Hydras.
not too much there right now. Like, a lot of his army is to the left and it is natural, but they are coming around. It throws down a little plague right there. Are we going to get a Dark Swarm? Maybe not, but he throws the lurkers.
Yeah. Well, he's not going to get in there and take that 4th base out. 4 gases is the number that Zerg needs. Terran may even want to take a 5th here.
Yeah, I could see him taking the 5th base that's like towards the Zerg, but he needs to bring his tanks forward a little bit and get some really good siege positions. You see he's got a very nice spread here. He's starting to mix in a few more fire bats, which I think is really important, so that you can clean up like errant lurkers. Like sometimes these pushes come tasteless, and you throw that in Darkstorm, and 1 lurker gets up to your tanks.
Yeah.
So you really need like some fire bats just in case something like that happens.
Right. You really need to just be able to handle that.
Yeah. Look at all these plagues, all these dark swarms. Great play here from Soulkey. Using this style that, again, I've been talking for a while. I feel like this is a very underrated way to play Zerg, the Lurker Hydra Defiler. And it's just like, it's so incredibly hard to kill. As you can see, every attack he's done hasn't really done anything to Soulkey. And I think you're right. It might be the right situation for him to just kind of chill. Like, just make more and more siege tanks, siege up, finish up your upgrades, and, like, try to win the very big macro game.
Now, little Dark Swarm here, buy some time. I'm getting worried here for Royal. This natural base on the left, if Zerg gets that and keeps it for a while, I don't think Zerg can be stopped. Because he'll also get access to the main. Now, this map, the way it's shaped and the way this game's going, you could drop it and try to take that back, but, like, Zerg's starting to get out of hand. And to be honest, you know, Terran hasn't really been able to mine consistently from that that 4th base that he's had over there in the lower bottom left.
Yeah, it's so true. And look at this, a stim and spread against Mass Lurker here with 2-2 upgrades. Just gets wrecked.
GG.
Royal with no answer against the Lurker Hydra Defiler. And Soulkey picks up another one, bringing us to Game 7.
All right, man. Well, let us go to this Game 7. I can't believe how great this series has been. You know, a lot of times in Best of Sevens, guys, we don't see Game 7. It's pretty rare. But we're having it here now, and I got to say, man, this has been a hell of a journey, and I still do not know who's going to take this.
Wow. Yeah, it's been so back and forth. Here we are in that Game 7. It's going to be Butter 2. So it's actually like a little bit of a smaller map. I feel like that's going to play towards Royal a bit more.
Yeah.
Right? Terran likes that more compact map against Zerg.
And it's a one-on-one map,
yeah.
or sorry, 2-player map, so there's no other spawn. So, you know, hidden buildings could be a factor. We've already seen Royal is willing to show that. Man, this has just been an insane journey. And again, dude, could not be closer.
Oh, they're a perfect match for each other. And you can see, like, Royal's still doing fantastically, but Soulkey is bringing his TVZ win rate back down out of the stratosphere, showing him that Zergs can still take him down. I am excited as hell for this Butter game. Do you have a gut feeling who's going to take it?
Dude, I can't tell you, man. Every game has been so delightfully close, so dramatic. I want to point out, you know, every time Royal tries to be sneaky, it doesn't work, but it seems like he's able to win anyways, which is kind of funny. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, Royal is able to do these crazy, obtuse strats, but at the same time, he also can play straight up and kind of overpower the Zerg. But You know, that last game, I think Soulkey played a very, very strong mid game. I think on a map where, you know, trying to get that fourth base is hard, he pulled it off masterfully.
Yeah, like that is, you know, that's something that can happen when we have like a certain type of map in the map pool for a long time. Really, exactly that style developed on Eclipse, where you wait a lot longer to take your fourth, and you just have more macro hatches. But yeah, I think it was beautifully played. I wouldn't mind seeing Soulkey play a similar game here, because it is kind of the same thing with the third to fourth base layout, but it's the map itself is thinner, right? Like it's not as wide. So that gives Royal some opportunities with siege tanks to cut the map up a little bit better than we saw there on Sylphid.
I don't think we're going to have mech or anything like that. It seems like, you know, what Royal likes to do is, you know, keep pushing with his tanks and keep trying to, you know, overcome the Zerg. It does seem like if Soulkey can get to late game, though, he's unstoppable, by the way.
I know. He really is. He's such a great late game Zerg. Now, here we go. Set 7. It is hype.
It's crazy.
3-3.
Guys.
Yeah, one of these guys is going to be in their first ASL finals.
That's right, man. And we don't know who. It's too close. Guys, we're going to the map butter. Get your bread rolls ready.
Oh, no. All right. Let's go, guys. Map 7. The bottom right, we have Royal. In the top right, we have Soulkey.
Yeah, man. This has been such a fun journey. I'm so happy that this was as close as it was. That really is the dream, guys, when you get the best of 7, then it goes all the way to that game 7. Because you know what's the exact opposite that's the worst thing ever is a 4-0. Because by the time you get to the 3-0, you're like, okay, let's wrap this up. Either that or you're going to have the craziest comeback of all time.
Yeah. Well, I would actually say that 4-1 is almost worse than 4-0. Because, like, 4-1 is, like, there's not even really hope there, you know? It's like, it like, prolongs the death that you know is coming.
Yeah.
It's like your opponent's up 3-0 and you get, like, a game off of, like, blocking
You like cheese them, or you stop their cheese, and it's like, all right, well.
Yeah.
Let me get back to what worked.
Okay, Royal is going to open up with a wall in. I think it's a good choice. Soulkey over here. As that Overlord building, we'll see if he wants to go for a pool first or a hatchery first. I'm guessing he's going to go hatch first. Nice little wall from Royal.
Yeah. And, you know, look, Soulkey may try to do something kind of wacky or cheesy, but if I had to bet on what he'd do, I think he's going to play just like he did in all the other games. Soulkey seems to be more than confident. And, you know, it's funny, we talked about how Soulkey maps out some very different stuff. I guess not in this series. In this series, he just wants to, you know, kind of get his bases up and macro out. I thought the Guardians was kind of a crazy idea, but apparently, Tastosis, you're saying that that's just sort of the new way people try to deal with tank pushes.
People are trying it. I don't think it's 100% decided. In theory, it's good, but it doesn't always work. But yeah, it's not that far off the meta right now. You know, one thing I do want to mention is we have seen a couple games that were more like Lurker, Hydra, Defiler based from Soulkey, which I like. You know, it feels very strong right now, and it's kind of fascinating to me to watch, to see this strategy start to get used at the pro level a little bit more. It's definitely something I run into on the ladder a fair amount right now. But I want to see if he's going to continue to lean on that, because it feels like he's having a higher success rate with that than, like, Ling Muta.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting point. So we've got right now for Royal, it's just, you know, a pretty quick expansion. You know, it's going to be, and it doesn't seem so far like Soulkey's going to do anything crazy. I don't really expect him to do anything like that. By the way, it does seem like, and this is kind of a general big picture question, it does seem like that Goliath build isn't really much of a thing anymore, is it?
No, it's really not. It got pretty figured out. Like, I mean, you can still occasionally mix in like a Goliath opener and go into mech, but just not very popular.
And what was it that the Zergs did to kind of map that out?
Well, I think it just got used a bit too much. You know, people ask me very oftentimes about mech builds against Zerg. Oh my god, he actually just doesn't have anything here. I'll finish that in a second, Tastosis. But these 4 Marines have sick potential for damage.
Oh, and the drones are going to flee up to the top.
No, the Ling's coming down. The drones, some very good micros so far. Some more Lings are popping out. He hasn't lost drones yet, but I think he's about to. There goes 1, 2. Oh, dude. Oh, my God.
3.
That's so much
4.
damage. Oh, my God.
This is crazy.
Might cost Soulkey a championship, Tastosis. 4 Marines.
Yeah.
4 Marines walk across the map, and he just was not ready. He did not have anything in position to see those coming. His overlords, I mean, he has a couple out there, but they were walked around very simply. Damn. That's a little bit anticlimactic. I'm a little bit nervous now. Is Soulkey just going to roll over and die?
Yeah, well, the problem right now is Soulkey doesn't have any recourse. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Lynx can't get in there and counterattack. You know, Terran is making SCVs continuously, whereas, you know, the Zerg, it's like one's a stick shift, another is an automatic for cars. Like, the Zerg has to, like, stop, make drones, get the right number of drones, then switch back into Zerglings or Mutalisks or whatever you're making. Then you get another base, you stop, you make the right number of drones, you go back and forth. And so when you see a Zerg player at the start of the game lose, like, a handful of drones, it's really, really bad. Like, when you see a Zealot run in with a probe and they killed off 2 drones, just 2 drones, you might look at that and you think, well, yeah, but the Zerg eventually killed the probe and the Zealot. You know, that's 150 minerals. Who cares if, and you know, and that was 1 worker for the Protoss too.
Yeah.
How could that possibly be so good for the Protoss? Well, it's because the Zerg never has anywhere near as many workers. And when they're making workers, they are not making other stuff like Mutalisks or Zerglings. And so, as the Terrans making SCVs the entire game, well, not the entire game, but the entire early part of the game, you know, the Terran is now eons ahead.
Yeah. And it's a really important thing to kind of triple underline there, just how fragile that Zerg economy can be. Like, look at that natural, just looking at it. You're like, yeah, that's very drone-light right now. You know, he's going to have a hard time getting everything out that he needs. Now, you know, there are ways for him to kind of fight back. Like, he can go just mute a drone for a little bit and just say, okay, I got to have amazing Mutalisk harassment, drone up really heavily, and then kind of get back into it at that point. But if his mutas get blocked very well, he's not going to have much opportunity to get those drones.
So the mutas are continuing to fly around here and just try to find any opportunities. It does look like he's thinking about running in with the Lings. I don't think it's a wise decision. I think it's going to be very hard to get by that egg and get around those Marines. And I also think it just wouldn't work even if he did. I think Terran has enough. And so this is frustrating. You know, that damage that Zerg took on earlier, and now he really can't do much to hurt the Terran at all.
Oh, yeah. I don't see any real ins for those Mutalisks right now. He's throwing the Hydralisk Den down at his 3rd base. But it feels like there is a decent window here for Royal. Did you see that? He just slipped a fire bat out the side.
Yeah,
he's going to try to see if he can walk that around and snipe a bunch of drones.
Yeah, and that's another cool little tactic. Again, it's a narrow map, but, you know, as long as he's keeping track of the Mutalisks, it's unlikely there's anything to spot over on that left side of the map. This is one of the fun things about maps that are shaped like this, is to see both players start on the right, which leaves this vacancy for little maneuvers like this, where the fire bat's going to run across.
Well, it seems like he's going to get all the way there without being spotted. He's going to stay just barely outside of that Overlord's sight range. So that's going to be a very annoying harassment. Soulkey's going to have to run his drones. He doesn't necessarily need to lose any drones here, but we'll see.
Oh man, gets one drone. Man. Could he get a 3rd one? It's funny how long it takes for a fire bat to kill a drone, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is a pretty big interruption. Again, every drone is precious for the Zergs, from the Zergs' perspective.
Right now, Royal has to be feeling fantastic about his position in this game. He has got a lot of bio. Soulkey, okay, he has +1 on those mutas. He's flying around. We'll see if he can actually reduce this army a little bit, but he also has to get up into his lurkers. He also has to get up into a Defiler mount as quickly as possible as well. Or, you know, he will end up getting rolled otherwise.
He's getting an armory. What are you... Why is he doing that?
Oh, is he getting...
Is he going to go for Valkyries?
Yeah, he's going to make 2 Valkyries and then go into Science Vessels, very likely.
I might be wrong, but doesn't this feel a little bit late for Valkyries?
It's still okay. Like, there's actually like a slight metagame shift going on right now at the top, where people are getting 2 Valkyries and then getting Science Vessels.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's just the mutas have become so strong that like the irradiates are almost too slow. Like this is a moment where you really want to be out on the map, but as lurkers hatch, the mutas will just counterattack, and they can actually do a lot of damage even to your turrets. So yeah, the Valkyries, it is becoming kind of popular to get a couple before, before any Science Vessels.
So he just goes and snipes down that one Ling in there. Their lurkers are now available. Let's keep in mind, counterattacks are a real threat. Just like we saw that fire bat that ran all the way around on the map. You can do that with lurkers into their main. Oh my god. Great surround, dude. Royal with masterful execution just comes in and takes that down. The 2 Valkyries are out. And so I guess, is there a reason you don't get 3 or 4 Tastosis? Is it just because the Science Vessels are too important?
Well, yeah, and the 2 will just do it. The 2, like, negate these mutas almost completely. As long as you keep the Valkyries alive, the mutas can't really touch your Bioforce. And, like, if they try to counterattack you and stuff, you can go clear them out. But yeah, he definitely does have to get into Irradiates from here. Sometimes you go Dropship after this as well. But I think he'll very likely go into Irradiate. Oh, boy.
Okay.
This is not going to be fun for Soulkey.
Now, this isn't the easiest angle to come in here as the Terran, but there's really just not that many lurkers. Oh my god!
Oh my god, that was the craziest spines ever. Really great building placement and lurkers there. Now he's coming in. Look at this. Soulkey suddenly. Can he eliminate this army efficiently?
Yeah, he
brings up his Muta Scourge. He's going to get rid of the Valkyries. And you know what?
Wow.
That was well done by Soulkey.
Yeah,
wow.
It's funny. I was, before the attack happened, I said, this isn't the best angle, but, you know, there's only 2 lurkers. But when those 2 lurker spines, like, perfectly killed, I want to say, like, 7 Marines. It was some insane number.
Yeah.
Man, that building placement was actually perfect. Initially, I was kind of wondering, like, why would you make your den over there? Now I see why. And the Queen's Nest. It's like actually, there's like this very subtle Sim City that they've set up. And
yeah, I hadn't actually thought of that, but I mean, it brutalized him. He could have actually broken it if those buildings weren't there.
He's coming in now.
Yeah, a couple vessels are out, but he did lose a lot of his army. You can see that the supply is a lot closer now than it would have been otherwise. Look at the lurker count. That is pretty insane. And he's having to use Irradiates on those Mutalisks, which is not something you want to do when you made 2 Valkyries. The Valkyries really were supposed to be the answer to the Mutas, which means that is less Irradiates for the Lurkers at this point.
All right, nice snipe on that one and backs away. Gracefully done. Again, you know, we may see... I thought we were really this whole game going to just be talking about those Marines that killed the drones, but seeing that Lurker shot that basically blew up Royal and denied him the position he thought he was about to get the closer, that may be the most impactful thing now in this game.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Zerg is looking very, very scary despite getting really badly hurt early on.
Oh my god, Tasteless.
The Lurkers are tripping up.
Yeah, that's a big move, but there's also a Defiler counterattack that he just barely missed. Now, there's a floating building that may end up seeing this, but if this gets into the natural, it's quite likely that Soulkey will take the game.
Oh my god. Yeah, you're right. This is one of the problems in this phase of the game is that natural's very weak. See, these the SCVs have almost mined out the main. So you're going to get like all of the SCVs in the game. Or almost all.
Here he goes. Yeah, the 1 Marine does set him off here. Oh god. Oh god. I think he's at home trying to deal with what's coming towards him. And look at this, with the Dark Swarm going up, he can't get anything done there. There's the Dark Swarm into his natural. These bunkers not going to help him defend all. He has to run all the SCVs away. And this is, like, he can clear this. It doesn't straight kill him. But this, it is denying a ton of mining. It's killing a ton of SCVs. It's stopping reinforcements. It's killing units. You have to reset all of your rally points. Dude, this is disastrous for Royal.
Now, he did transfer SCVs over to this other base, so economically he hasn't been as badly shaken up. Firebats are going to come out, but, you know, the thing is 3 Lurkers is kind of the magic number. Because 3 Lurkers can just wipe out, you know, a couple Firebats coming in. When you have, like, 1 Lurker, then you can try to, you know, shove with Firebats. Oh, I'm sorry, it's 2, but still. Hard to deal with. An injured Lurker in the back is killed off. Irradiates are going to slowly break down this position that Zerg got, but again, the push has been reset. Terran's all the way back at home and is going to have to try to gain ground. Good snipe on the Defiler, by the way. Wow.
Yeah, that was really unexpected to see that. In the meantime, that factory giving him lots of vision, helping out with that. He has cleaned up completely the little attack to his natural. Royal sitting on 3 bases, so he took a lot more damage this game than we saw in some of the other ones. He should be taking his 4th right now, but I don't think he's made a 4th command center. I'm not sure that he feels he can afford it either with what's happened.
Yeah, and the 4th base is going to be so important here. You know,
dude, we are getting into Lurker Defiler Hydra again.
Oh, okay. He's going to go for that kind of battle Zerg style out on the map. Crazy to see this. You know, there was a period where Lurker Hydra Defiler was kind of considered obsolete and old. You know, we talked about this earlier in the cast, but it's kind of crazy. This may get him into an ASL Finals.
It really may. Like, I think this is going to be, if he wins this, it'll be 3 of his 4 victories were, like, based off of this. So that's kind of insane. Coming across the map now, I mean, there's still a lot of play on both sides. You can see Royal has a lot of supply. He's at 133. He's got a pretty good vessel count, although that can start to get reduced. Notice how he's really focusing on plagues here. If you just keep plaguing, then the Hydras can kind of just kill everything.
Okay, so, I mean, Terran's going to come up. This is going to be a very pivotal moment here because this is maybe the one opportunity Terran has to branch off and hit whatever base isn't covered by Dark Swarm. You can see Zerg sets up in the middle here. We do have 1 Lurker that gets in. This is a very big army, though. Can he get a Firebat over there? No, he cannot.
I think he lost.
But he can also kind of go around. Oh, great Dark Swarm at the last second.
Oh,
but
man.
he can just
nothing.
He can just kind of run by.
Nothing here to actually hit that.
Dude,
yeah,
this is crazy. Oh my god.
Who is going to win this game?
He's going to run into the main.
Idea.
He's just going to kind of like just avoid the Dark Swarms.
Oh man, another Dark Storm goes down, but there's
He's
not
like,
a Zergling in sight.
Watch this, I don't care. Catch me if you can.
Going deeper. Dude, this is like watching Boxer back in the old days right now, just microing endlessly forward, running through Dark Swarms. Absolutely amazing play. Gets in there, and look at this. He's going to hit this 4th base now. The 4th base is going to fall. A lot more units coming up as well. I think that Soulkey still has a slight chance to equalize this, but he has to play really well from here.
Yeah, well, he's again, I don't know how safe the 3rd base is, but I feel like just barely he can take the Zerg out. I mean, that was a pretty insane moment when he drove all the way through that. He's going to take out the 3rd base, no problem. There is a Lurker burrowed over here, but I believe the tank should be able to just kill this off if he's able to just kind of devote some of his APM to it.
These Marines getting surrounded a little bit. Some nice micro once again here from Royal, making every shot count. And Royal doesn't have like a lot of map presence right now. In fact, neither of them really do. Like, he has that small group that killed that 4th base right here, so that's nice. But other than that, he's like pretty far back on the map. So that's going to give Soulkey a little bit of breathing room.
I mean, this has been so crazy. I guess the big story, though, really is Zerg doesn't have a 4th up yet. It's been back and forth, but again, what we really want to keep in the back of our minds is that, you know, until the Zerg gets a 4th base and starts mining the gas from it, there's a lot more pressure here for the Zerg to perform and try to come up with something.
Yeah, one thing to mention is Lurker Defiler Hydra can take later bases than any other Zerg strat in this matchup.
Oh, is that right? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So basically, you're grinding a lot of value with Plague and Dark Swarm, So you're not as dependent on getting the 4th base as quickly as some of the other strats. Whereas, like, 18 minutes in Tasteless, if this was, like, a very standard, like, he's trying to go into ultras and stuff, I'd be like, wow, he's just about to die because he doesn't have a 4th. But here, it's like, okay, well, he's going to continue to Plague. He's going to continue to throw it on Dark Swarms, and we're going to see if he's able to, you know, just kind of grind into that 4th base.
Okay,
Ooh,
dude,
the
Fire Bats. Just blow that position away. Oh my god, Eraser versus Hydra. Who wins that? Go back.
Yeah, the Hydra. I think he might have killed one of them there, but man, this is absolutely a crazy game. Look at how low Soulkey's supply is. He's still got enough to hold on. He's still got enough to roam around and try things, but the amount of Fire Bats that are being mixed in is getting a little bit tricky for him to deal with these smaller armies.
Yeah, you know, Lurkers will always beat Fire Bats until the Lurkers are too low in numbers and the Fire Bats become hilariously high in numbers. Then it's just, they sort of overpower them. Oh, that's funny. There's 2 tanks that I guess are just stuck up in the main. That's actually kind of huge.
Yeah, he's going to have to maybe kill some of those missile turrets off to get them out.
By the way, I think Royal is playing the map perfectly here. Notice that because there's no 4th base now being made, he's not really going to try to come out. He's not going to let the Zerg have an opportunity to counterattack. He knows it's about killing the 4th base is going to kill the Zerg, not killing the Zerg's
That's
main.
actually a really good point. And Soulkey is not even trying to take that right now. It seems like he's just trying to come up with a push at this point. And Soulkey eliminates this little group that came up after him. But he is down in supply quite a bit. Throws down the Dark Storm. Okay, the Lurkers are coming up, so the Fire Bats cannot just dominate this position. Now, there's a lot of tanks back here.
Oh, man, big Dark Swarm. Yeah, the tank spread is very good. They're not all put together, so it's hard to actually get up to where he wants to be. This is probably going to end up being an overextension here for Soulkey. I feel like now he's really in trouble, because if he unbros that, you know, the splash damage will hit the Lurkers.
Well, he has to keep going. He has to use that to slingshot into the tanks. Like, he's bringing down more units, so what we'll see is another Dark Storm. He's going to run up even further now. Like, this, you can't turn around, like you said. Look at this, though. He's getting on top of everything, running right up with those Dark Swarms, burrowing the Lurkers. Oh my god, the siege tanks are falling tasteless. Soulkey has an endless rally coming down, but Royal is going for a counter.
Yeah, and this counter actually could be insane here, because if he gets in and starts to tear apart this natural, nothing can get out. All of the Terran's buildings are right up there, but Terran's going for a counterattack zone.
Oh my god, this is insanity! The Fire Bats making a huge difference in here. A Plague goes down, but who cares? You can't even hit anything underneath there. In the meantime, more Lurkers going into the natural. Look at that, the drone is actually blocking a bunch of the units and they'll end up dying. The Fire Bats clearing Lurkers! Oh my god, Ling's coming up here as well. Multiple Plagues have been cast! How is this game gonna end?
I think Terran's gonna take this.
I think so.
Well, hold on a second. There's enough Dark Swarms and enough Lings that now the Terran's going to lose this position. Oh my god. You know, it's just enough Lurkers, and this angle is just weird enough. Look, he's going to keep leapfrogging the Lurkers. Now, he's got plenty of income here, but he can't really get his army where it needs to be. I guess it's pretty fortunate that, I guess it's probably by design, but that there's factories outside the main.
You know what, Tasteless? I think... Yeah, if Royal regains the front of his base, I think he should be able to take it.
I think you're right, and I think he's just now done that. He just has enough.
So, yeah, like I think Soulkey needed to utilize this moment where Royal was contained to maybe kill one of the expansions, like the left-hand side one. And he wasn't able to. He does send a few units up here, and there was nothing left over. Like Royal's really bringing all of his units together.
I think he wants to try to block that with an egg. Doesn't get over there in time.
Yeah.
It has to run away. But again, I don't mean to sound like a broken record here, but like there's no 4th base finished yet. He's going to try to start another one. But right now, it's just a Terran with a superior economy, you know, kind of taking fights where he can.
Okay, coming up, and, well, there's one Lurker. Oh, and a Dark Storm. It's invincible. You're going to have to irradiate that one. So, I mean, that'll do a little bit of damage. Soulkey, like, he is keeping the pressure on, but you can see his supply is getting to the numbers. Like, when you drop below 70, you basically can't defend anymore as Zerg. So he is, like, pretty damn all in right now.
Yeah, he really is. I mean, it's getting darker and darker here for Soulkey. You know, I feel like we are now in the twilight of this game, and it just doesn't really seem like anything that Soulkey's tried to, you know, make stick has actually worked. Now, the fourth base is up, so if he starts harvesting gas from that, the game will go on, just to be clear. But if not, I mean, again, that's really what we want to watch for.
Like, he'll get this base. He'll get this base, right? Like, there's a few Marines going, whatever. Soulkey has units. They're going up. He's going to be able to hold it. What I'm more concerned with here is this push that Soulkey continues to try to do, because when you push into tanks, like we saw the push that got to the natural, if you're going to do that, you have to do it all the way. You can't do it halfway. Like, you can't push part of the way and be like, there's too many tanks and turn around, because, like you said, you know, you unburrow and everything is going to die. So I feel like he's bleeding a lot of units on that frontal attack.
Okay, another attack comes in over here. And this is kind of crazy, man. He's going to take a fifth. But look, I mean, from the Zerg's fourth base down to this fourth base on the far right for the Terran, it's a pretty good spot to attack in, man. I see Lings, but I don't see Lurkers.
Oh, Fire Bat Bunker there, Tasteless. He's getting absolutely wrecked by the Fire Bat Bunker. His Dark Swarm having no real effect there, unfortunately. Some of his vessels getting plagued once again. This is a huge army, and he's twice the supply of Soulkey right now. It just doesn't feel like the efficiency is going to be there for Soulkey to continue this.
Yeah, well, this may be the fatal counterattack here, right? I mean, again, it's a ramp, and Lurkers are the strongest on ramps. You know, and okay,
Whoa.
This is big. This is very big that Lurker is still there. But again, the real story is, will he be able to get up here and take out this fourth? He does not. This game's going on, man.
Yeah, Soulkey getting that base does give him some renewed life in the game. I feel like there is opportunity here for Royal to maybe send like a group of units towards the left side of the map. You know, we've been fighting so much on the right side for a little bit that you got to know that the left side is going to be weak for everybody.
Okay, Ling's coming down now. And, I mean, it really shows you how bad the economy is for the Zerg right now by, like, the few number of Lurkers that are actually out. He's never quite got, like, that right critical mass. This is so funny the Firebat can still reach that Lurker. Yeah. That's hilarious.
Plus range on Firebats is insane.
I've never quite seen a Lurker try to shimmy away out of range of a Firebat in a bunker. That just looks so funny.
Yeah. Now look at this push coming up. That is a beautiful Darkstorm. He's going to catch these tanks. These are expensive units. Royal, you cannot be wasting these. Like, I know Royal's ahead, but look at that. He just lost like 3 vessels and 2 tanks in a matter of seconds.
I want to point something out that I feel like we only ever say in StarCraft 2 TVZ, but like in this case, the Terran has had more bases for longer and will therefore mine out sooner than the Zerg will. Because the Zerg has had to play such a scrappy game. Now, we're a far ways away from that, but keep that in mind here as we go forward, because Zerg is now going up to 5 bases to match the Terran. Oh my god, Slugger!
Dude, look at Soulkey turn water into wine here. This is insanity. Like, he has had so little for so long, and just masterfully using these tiny groups of units, getting everything into great spots. But Royal just continues to pressure the map. Look at this. Another group of units going up, canceling out that 5th base, or killing the 5th base, rather, before Soulkey can even get a drone to it.
Oh my god. There's nothing really protecting this base. This has kind of been an ignored position by both the players and even the observer, but now that we're over here, I mean, this is a lot of kills, a lot of drones going down. Oh my god, I think Zergs, you know, keep in mind these are super upgraded Hydras. These Firebats can't be killed. These are immortal Firebats. This is crazy. It's like a Warcraft 3 hero.
It really is. Firebats have 1 base armor, so when you get them 3 armor, that's pretty insane. It gets explosive damage from Hydras.
Did I say Firebat?
Do almost no damage.
I meant Blade Master here. I mean, this is... That was crazy watching that. There was like 8 Hydras firing on that thing.
Yeah. I mean, it does not do that much. Oh my god. He saves that base? Oh my god, what am I even looking at? This is the craziest game of the season.
This is like actually the best game so far, and it's the last one. Oh my god.
He saved both hatcheries. Look at this, picking off science vessels, so important. But Soulkey is at 64 supply. Okay, that's really low. Zergs generally late game lose if they go below 70 supply.
Yep.
So, I mean, he is really on the brink of death. But he's like, you know what? We got to push. Let's go.
Yeah, he's getting in the Terran's face with like sub 70 supply moments. Oh my god, he's sniping these vessels.
Oh my god, he almost got that last one as well. Look at this, the plagues go down. He's like, yes, Hydras beat Marine Medic.
You know, we don't normally see fully upgraded Hydras fight Marine Medic, so it's kind of breaking my brain trying to call who's going to take the fight. Another attack up in here. I only see one lurker. There's the egg. You'll never get in there in a million years. And he's going to push over here. Artosis, this is insane.
Dude, if he kills this base, then he can totally win. Now, if Soulkey, on the other hand, like, loses here, like, he can't be losing that base.
No.
It is so important. This is where most of his drones are, but it looks like it's going to fall.
Oh, I think Royal may have just barely managed to win this here. Hold on. More army is coming up.
Oh, that fire bat though, Tastosis. So many drones are falling. Does Soulkey have enough? I don't know that he does. The tank on low ground being so valuable. Those two tanks.
Okay, but he's got Dark Swarm. These tank can continue to shell him, which is a huge problem here.
Yeah, there's enough medics here as well. The Hydras just are not doing their job, unfortunately.
Oh my god.
Royal just has too much sustain here. That's it. GG.
Whoa!
Oh my god. Royal makes it to the finals. What a series. Oh my god, falling out of his chair. He's like just so happy here.
Yeah, man. Wow.
You gotta feel for him, man.
Oh my
Holy
god.
crap.
What a crazy series. What in the craziest game at the end. Oh my god, the emotions are real. I respect that. Man, falling out of the chair even. Popping off, dude.
Dude, he has been working so hard for so long. Over the last 5 years, we've seen him grow from a Terran that wasn't even top 10 to now a ASL Finals player.
Yeah. Man.
Like, unreal. His hard work is really paying off. It is so touching to see. He's crying at this point because he is reaching his dreams. And I tell you, I'm starting to tear up right now, Tastosis. This is touching.
Let's all have a good cry. People going nuts here in the audience.
Crazy.
Wow. First player to fall out of a chair, too. I think we've seen it all now.
No, yeah, that was, well, I mean, that was like an overwhelming moment. That was an insane last game. That was one of my favorite games I've ever seen. This series was one of the best of-sevens we've ever had.
Ever. I mean...
Like, unreal. And I mean, Royal, happy for him. He's made it to the finals. It's such a big deal. Oh my god, they're doing the tennis signatures?
Here we go.
I love it. This is what they do in tennis.
Is that right?
Sign on the camera. Yeah.
I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, is he going to attack the cameraman? What's happening?
I love it, man. What a moment. And big cheers to Soulkey. He played his heart out tonight. Amazing. Like, you don't get a series like that without the loser as well. Like, Soulkey really pushed Royal to his absolute limits.
Well, I mean, that was kind of crazy how long he was lasting. Like, he just could not die. He was like, it was like the end of the Terminator 1 movie where it's like, he's like chasing Sarah Connor through the factory and stuff and almost gets him at the very end. That was crazy. We're going to go to an interview now and just see, you know, oh, no, we're not. I lied. So this is, I guess, what they decided was maybe the most pivotal moment in the game. And, man, I got to say, there was this moment where it looked like, okay, maybe Royal can take it, and then Soulkey fought back so well. So insanely well.
Dude, when he pushed into the natural, like, it was such a hard thing. There was, like, a huge tank line, and he pushed through everything and did so much damage, was so efficient, and barely defended everything at home at the same time. I tell you, if he, like... This was actually quite a close game, despite the huge supply difference.
Yeah, this was wild, man. And how crazy is it to see the Hydra Lurker play kind of come back when it mattered most, by the way. I mean, that really says something about, you know, kind of the evolution of the meta. is that Soulkey decides when his back's against the wall, this is what he's going to bust out. Not Lurkerling Muta, but Hydraling Lurker.
자, 이제 인터뷰가 좀 기다리고 있습니다. 자, 오늘 주인공 김준 선수와 이야기 나눠보도록 하겠습니다. 드디어 그토록 원하던 결승 무대에 올라가게 되었습니다. 정말 그동안 선수 생활하면서 여러 가지 생각들이 오갈 텐데요. 그토록 받아는 결승 진출, ASL 결승 가게 됐어요. 소감 들어보겠습니다.
진짜 처음부터 스타 시작할 때부터 꿈꿔왔던 그 우승이라는 목표까지 한 걸음이 나온 것 같아가지고 진짜 아직 너무 말로 표현할 수 없어서 너무 기쁜 것 같아요.
정말 힘든 순간들이 좀 많았잖아요.
네네.
예, 폼을 끌어올리기 위해서 계속 도전하고 또 도전하고 오늘 김민철 선수도 정말 까다로운 상대고 강력한 상대였습니다.
네.
자, 마지막 경기조차 여기서 이제 마음을 놓을 수 있는 순간들이 아예 없었잖아요.
네. 아무래도 초반에 이제 이전 세트에서 민철이 형이랑 무난하게 운영을 했을 때 너무 힘들더라고요. 혹시 민철이 형보다 너무 힘든 느낌이 들어가지고 마지막 세트는 저의 장점을 살려서 초반에 유리하게 갔는데도 게임이 너무 힘들더라고요. 민철이 형이 너무 잘해가지고. 그래서 도중에 진짜 이걸 지는 건가 싶을 정도로 포기도 할 뻔했는데 진짜 끝까지 열심히 했더니 너무 좋은 결과가 나온 것 같아요.
네. 승리가 이제 확정된 순간 가장 먼저 무슨 생각이 머릿속에 떠오르던가요?
진짜 방금 이렇게 눈물이 진짜 왈칵 쏟아질 뻔했는데 겨우 참았거든요. 그냥 그동안 제가 정말 안 보이는 곳에서 그렇고 정말 열심히 했었는데 그냥 그 열심히 한 게 정말 헛된 시간이 아니었구나 생각이 들어가지고 너무 기뻤던 것 같아요.
네, 정말 항상 이렇게 김진성 선수 힘을 낼 수 있었던 데는 팬 여러분뿐만 아니라 이 동료분들이 좀 찾아줘서 열정적인 응원을 보내줬거든요. 자, 그분들에게도 감사 인사 부탁드리겠습니다.
네, 오늘 여기 앞에 저희 철화대 식구들이 진짜 꽉 채워줬는데 이게 저번에는 몇 명 안 왔었는데 이번에 엄청 많이 오니까 이게 솔직히 힘이 많이 되더라고요. 이게 더 열심히 해야겠다는 생각도 들고 그래서 오늘 진짜 와줘서 다들 너무 고맙고 그리고 정말 철화대 이름 달고 결승전 가서 팬들과 학생들 그리고 우리 교수 코치님들 간부진들 다 초대하고 싶었거든요. 그걸 꼭 이루게 된 것 같아가지고 너무 기쁘고 그리고 이 자리를 빌어 우리 철화대 총장 철구 총장님께 너무 감사하다는 인사 드리고 싶습니다. 그리고 오늘 정말 연습을 하는데 박상현 선수랑 유진효 선수 그리고 조일장 선수 그리고 이몽규 선수 이렇게 4명이랑 연습했는데 너무 진짜 빌드 추천도 많이 해주고 자신감 많이 불어넣어 주더라고요. 그 선수들한테 너무 감사하다는 인사 드리고 싶고 그리고 이제 진짜 우승까지 다 한 걸음 남았는데 끝까지 열심히 해서 이번에 정말 꼭 우승하도록 해보겠습니다. 감사합니다.
자, 그럼 이제 다음 마지막 내일 4강 하나가 남아있습니다. 유영진과 조일장 선수의 그 대결. 김진영 선수는 어떻게 예측하세요? 누가 나의 결승 상대가 됐으면 하는 바람이 있습니까?
저는 이번 시즌은 제가 우승하는 시즌이라면은 일장이 형이 올라올 것 같습니다.
그러면은 확실히 저거 올라오면 저거 다 때려잡고 우승 차지할 그 자신감이 있는 거예요?
일장이 형도 솔직히 쉽지 않을 거라고 제가 지금까지 저그전을 너무 하다 보니까 이제 빌드가 좀 고갈이 났어요 제가. 그래가지고 만약에 일장이 형을 만나면 머리가 아플 것 같긴 한데 그래도 저그전 워낙 자신 있기 때문에 우승할 수 있을 것 같습니다.
자, 그러면 끝으로 팬분들에게 결승전 각오 한 말씀 해주시죠.
오늘 진짜 쉽지 않았는데 오늘 하면서 오히려 또 제 부족한 점도 많이 느꼈거든요. 더 보완해서 결승전 누가 올라오든 정말 좋은 경기력, 좋은 모습으로 우승하는 모습까지 보여드리겠습니다. 감사합니다.
네, 다시 한번 축하드립니다. 자, 고생 많이 하셨습니다. 감사합니다. 이렇게 인터뷰를 좀 마무리하도록 하겠습니다. 생애 첫 결승 진출을 이뤄낸 김지성 선수예요.
Man, you know, StarCraft as a game is incredible, but you know, it's stuff like ASL that's able to produce these great stories, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you want to root for the guy now. And I'll tell you, man, his play was very inspired.
It really was. It really was. He is busting out so many different things, so much creativity, but also his mechanical level is top tier now. Like, he is a force to be reckoned with. He might be better than Rush now, Tasteless. Like, he really has just kind of transcended, and it's so nice to see.
Yeah, it's very, very cool to see him go forward, man. Who knows? We might have another Terran champion here.
This
is kind of crazy.
It is really possible. Like, I don't think that he is... Like, Hero and Rush are great players, but he could beat both of them.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, he might win.
I'm just in a great mood after these games here today. I mean, it's just, you know... I don't know, man. This is just so exciting. I had such a fun time casting this. I'm not a Terran player. I'm not a Zerg player.
Yeah.
But, man, I almost wish this was like a best of 11 or something. We got to cast a couple more, man.
Yeah. It's... well, we'll have another TVZ soon, Tasteless. The next match will be coming up pretty quickly after this. As you can see, the last 3 finals, by the way, all having Terran players in it. So, very, very cool to see. And, yeah, I'm excited about this guy's future. But our next match to see who will also go to the finals is going to be Rush against Hero.
Yeah, and I want to know how much this TVZ is going to differ from the one we just casted, because these are 2 very different players.
Really, they are. Like, Hero and Soulkey are more alike than Rush and Royal are. Like, Rush and Royal are very, very, very different players. But, you know, the thing is, they could be inspired by this a little bit as well, right? There's not much time between the matches. It's like one day then the next, so you can't really change too much. But, you know, you could look at something and be like, wow, that's a great idea. Maybe I should think about that.
Yeah. And, I mean, look, it's going to be hard to top the series we just had because of how just completely bonkers it was. But, I mean, expect to be impressed with these 2 for sure. I mean, these are just such strong players.
Yeah. It's going to be a great series. There's no doubt about that. Our finals will be on the 8th. If you're in Korea, you should definitely check that out.
Yeah,
and,
we won't be there, but that
be
VOD will be out as soon as humanly possible. We're going to bang that out right away. So avoid spoilers as we get closer and closer to the finals, guys. If you're in Korea, I highly recommend you go down and see a StarCraft event live. You know, it really is a very cool experience.
It's the best. I mean, this is what life is all about, if you ask me, Tasteless. The greatest video games being played by the greatest gamers.
That's right, dude. And again, guys, thank you for your support on Patreon. If you want to support us and you haven't already, go to patreon.com/ASL English. Sign up, and, you know, whatever you are willing to give, we really appreciate it. And that's all the time we have, guys. Take care. We love you. Have a good morning, afternoon, or night, wherever you are.